The far left is nothing more than a coalition of fragmented groups standing on a platform of pure hypocrisy.
Okay.
That's my belief.
Can I ask, when you say the far left, who are we talking about
These
here?
people right here in this room.
Okay. Okay, so help me start this one out, okay? Because this is my common rebuttal, okay?
Oh, no.
So when I ask people, like, who are the far left, okay? I get an answer like this, okay?
Right.
But then when they ask me and I talk about the far right, I would
Wait, this is the guy where you guys were like, "Oh yeah, please do not regard this as like a representation for for like the fucking for other fucking black people, right?" Okay, all right, I got you. Okay, noted. Thank you for letting me know.
say the same about,
Okay.
like, Congress.
Thank God. I was
So,
about
like,
to
I feel like
generalize.
as much as I love my fans and you guys are powerful, I don't know the capacity for changing the
Oh, no.
character of the United States or California or even LA. But for Republicans, I feel like they're changing the character of the entire country at an accelerated rate in a way that I really don't like. How can I make these two things equally threatening? Like, make me care
I'm
about
scared. Me
you know,
too.
crazy college kids that are far left.
Well, the youth are the future, right? That's what we've been taught since we were born. The children are the future. So the reason why the far left leaning college kids are an issue is because these are the people who old people like me will hand this country over to. And we're in a time where, it's an unprecedented
Okay, this
access
guy's
to
too
new
much,
information,
dude.
right?
This guy's
so you
too
pretty
much.
much can go out and find something that supports what you want to believe within 2 or 3 seconds or minutes. It wasn't like that in the 60s. It wasn't like that in the 70s or the 80s. People had to actually go search for, they had to go do research. You had to go to a library, open a book. And when you're searching to find what you want to believe, like support for what you want to believe, oftentimes you'll find things that go against what you believe, but they make a lot of sense, right? Research is necessary. Now you
Oh
put
my-
on TikTok,
what?
you got 100 people, an echo chamber saying exactly what you're thinking, and you really don't have a need to do any type of research. And that's the age we're in.
Sure, so I don't necessarily disagree with some of that. I mean, I would say that every age brings with it, like, access to information in ways that we didn't have before, right? And, the printing press and
I can't see his
radio and then
face.
TV. I
That's
think it was
crazy,
Vietnam,
dude.
the one that they called the TV war, whatever, the first
What?
where you had people that had, like, video footage of soldiers coming back wounded and stuff, and you had a lot of college kids protesting that. For Iraq, that might have been the first time we had, like, embedded
It's okay, the
units.
lighting
We were getting,
sucks.
like,
I get
reports,
that,
like, on the
yeah.
ground and video footage and everything, and now we're seeing, 4K drone high-def footage of people blowing each other up in Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, Israel. So I do agree the information is increasing. The one thing I guess I don't like or that I'm confused about when it comes to college stuff, when I look at, like, kids who are 18 to 22, aren't you supposed to be, like, kind of stupid? Isn't that, like, the time of your life to be crazy? Because if I talk to some, like, 20-year-old kid and I was like, tell me about your political outlook, and he's like,
That's
well, I'm a
actually
strong
true.
supporter of institutions and fiscal responsibility. I'm like, God damn, this is the most boring fucking household ever, right? Like, aren't I always, like, crazy? Isn't that normal?
Well, Kamala Harris said the same thing about college kids being stupid, and look what happened to her. She didn't get elected, right? College kids are not stupid. They're in school for a reason. You know who's stupid? People sitting out on drugs, doing crime. They're stupid. College kids are in an age of where they're learning and they're trying to grow into people who can, like,
What? Like, have you never met a dumb fucking college kid? Like somebody who isn't street smart but is in college? I feel like college is full of these. Like, why else do we have frat parties where people crash through the roof? Right? Why else do we have frat parties where people are breaking benches? Like, I remember when I was in college, because I went to OSU, right? I remember when I was in college, do you know what they were doing? Like, they were fucking, like, one time, all right, in my dorm, okay, I go to my elevator, and do you know what I see? I see a fucking bench broken in half. It's literally like a fucking bench that is broken in, like, it's split down the middle. Okay, it's like someone fucking karate chopped the thing. I don't even know how the fuck it's possible. Okay, and the other day I saw somebody, somebody was like fucking paving bricks in front of the RA's like fucking door. Okay, like, I'm talking about their bedroom dorm door. Okay, that they were paving bricks in front of. All right, like they were literally building a wall. All right, like you, it's not. I'm sorry, it's. These were bright kids, by the way. These dorms were filled with people who were comp sci students, okay? Comp sci students, all right? Yeah, there were a bunch of dorks, okay?
facilitate the continued prosperity of this country. The problem is we're not giving them a chance to learn through experience what older people, like their parents, already know.
What do you think is
You know what's the craziest thing is that that's supposed to be the experience, isn't it? Like, when you're dumb as a kid, when you're dumb as a college student, shouldn't that be your learning, like, arc? Shouldn't that be the period in which you're supposed to be doing the learning? I feel like I don't know. Like, I feel like that's not. I wouldn't say common sense, but like I feel like that would make sense, I guess, in my opinion. I don't know, dude. It's just this stuff is silly. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows at this point? Okay, who the fuck knows?
So I do agree that
Did it
college kids,
smell?
for
Oh,
demographic
yeah.
reasons, and like if you go
My
to college,
dorm
you're probably a little bit more
specifically,
intelligent. You go there to
okay.
get more intelligent. Like I agree with that. Have you ever played like board
Oh,
games
yeah.
or whatever?
Have I ever played board
Yeah,
games?
there's sometimes people are making like role playing games. They've got like intelligence and you got like wisdom.
Right,
or
right,
something you
right.
might call like street smarts or book smarts or whatever. You know, however people are life experience,
Oh.
common sense versus
Book smarts. Book smarts. Do you guys remember book smarts? You guys remember book smarts, right? Kidding. Okay, joking.
knowing things. Like college kids can be smart, but oh my god, they can also be
Too
fucking
soon.
stupid, right? Like you'll see like a
Yes.
guy who's 22, graduating college, maybe 21 early,
Sportsmanship,
you
yeah.
know, like drunk driving or making the dumbest decision ever for the first time, crashes
Bring
his
him
car,
on
gets
stream.
his girlfriend pregnant,
How
whatever
is he
stuff.
these
It's like, man,
days?
their kids are dumb, they make dumb mistakes, they do that, it'll happen. There's no way, like part of the learning experience is making those mistakes and being crazy and being cringe, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's not stupid. He was that age at one point, and he created $1 billion.
Wait, you don't think
company.
Zuck was a
The
party
more access
goer?
you have to information, the
Actually,
more
he might
less
not be.
ignorant you are of what's going on. I could see the college kid, like Ferris
You
Bueller's Day
remember?
Off or something like back in those
Hey.
days. Yeah, you kind of were expected to be a little bit dumb and gullible, but now people have information. They have answers to things at the touch of a button. I don't think they're as ignorant or
No.
as stupid as
Not like
as
that.
we would like them to be.
But I mean, like,
I think
part of
that I think that
By the way, like I don't like it when people say like, oh yeah, you have no excuse anymore. You have no excuse for commonly accepted facts, okay? But you can't replace college with ChatGPT. It's not possible. The reason for this, like at least so far, is because there is a difference between learning about a fact and internalizing that into action and knowing how to produce things with your bare hands and learning how to like do things, right? Like there's just so many I don't know. Like the thing is that this is a very naive answer. Like I'll say this is a naive answer, right? Because you have to internalize a concept, right? Like it's not just enough for you to memorize like some physics laws, right, and recite them from heart. You also have to understand and picture in your head the mechanisms that are in play, right? You have to picture in your head, okay, in order to solve this unique problem that I've never seen before, I have to use pre-existing physics related like fucking facts, right, in order to apply to it, right? You can't just I don't know, ChatGPT it. Otherwise, people would already be doing it, and people would just be employing ChatGPT instead to be their lawyer or their whatever the fuck, right? A lot of these things are internalized, and a lot of these things are learned in the industry as well. Yeah, I don't know. This is why like so far at the very least, it seems like ChatGPT and all these AI stuff is a helper, right? For people who are already specialized in these things, it's a good helper, right? Because when things are helping you, you are enhancing the way that you engage with these concepts, right? You're not replacing it, you're enhancing it, right, with the tool, right? Which is good. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing that AI can bring to the table, right? Yeah. I'm not saying don't be careful of AI, right? I'm just saying like there's plenty of things to be careful of, but
Democrats banked
Sorry.
on that, and it
I
like
went too far.
blew up in their face. And
I
I
was
think
yapping again.
that's one of the hypocritical aspects of the far left is that they expect everyone to be so dumb that they don't actually think, about the issues that they're expected to go vote on.
What?
And they just take somebody like Maxine Waters' word for it, somebody like Kamala Harris. Like, I don't think Kamala Harris is smarter than the average 21-year-old college student, honestly.
I think
They
she
can
is.
string a sentence together. She can't.
Kamala Harris, if she can't string a sentence together, I have no idea how much you're paying for Trump translations because there's no way you can understand anything that guy's saying. But like, okay, but let me just back up one more time to this, and then we can move on to the next thing. Do you have any kids?
Yeah.
You ever yeah. You ever have somebody who doesn't have kids try to tell you how to be a parent?
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
Do they?
No. Well, most of them probably don't.
So-
but I'm just saying that, like, no matter how smart somebody is, every parent's had that experience where somebody who doesn't have kids is there telling them, what they do. And it's not about them being smart or stupid or whatever. It's just they don't have the experience.
This
lived
is
experience,
why
right?
your premise is totally bad faith, because your audience is a bunch of people who don't deal with the everyday struggles that you and I deal with.
DGG just ran a gender poll. 160 votes male, 8 votes female. That is rough. And I also have to imagine that the people who are female are like, which percentage of that population is transgender? I guess, is also what I'm curious about. Because if you're transgender, I mean, not to be transphobic or anything, but I feel like that isn't really the same as like the same growing up experience as someone who is like a cis girl, right? So the thing is that yeah, I would be curious as to know like how much of that 8 people who identify as like female to be like, I don't know, 8 votes cis women, 13 votes trans women. Oh, actually, 8 is more than I thought. Okay, that sounds horrible. Yeah, I mean, I guess 8 is more than I thought. I don't know. All right, okay, guys, ready? Ready? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna start a poll. All right, gender. Okay, all right, here we go. White male. No, not white male. Fuck me, dude. I'm sorry. Cis male. Cis female. Trans male. Trans female. Okay. Good luck. All right, vote. All right, go. choose your option. I'm just so curious. Here, just click it. Click it. Okay. At the end of the night, I'll end the poll at the end of the night. Okay. All right. Good luck. Okay. 75%, 71%. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's going up. Fuck me. Okay. Never mind. Don't lie. Okay. Don't dilute the voting poll.
So you can talk. Hold on. You can talk to them. Listen. Do you know how much I care about an illegal criminal alien immigrant when my daughter says, hey, Dad, I need $4,000 for volleyball, club volleyball? I'm like, I don't care about that. This is my issue that I have to deal with today. And when they have kids and they have to deal with paying for daycare, feeding those kids, providing a place for those kids to live, they're gonna care a lot less about some guy in El Salvador getting due process when he's a criminal and he should be deported immediately.
It depends on what your lived experience is, though, right?
No.
Like when I was growing up, okay, there were family members of mine that were criminal illegal immigrants because half of my family comes from Cuba. But now the difference is my mom loves the illegal immigrants from Cuba. She doesn't like the ones from South America or from Mexico.
Cubans traditionally hate illegals.
Well, once they're here, they do.
Of course, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I'm just saying, you can't say, you want to say Cubans hate illegals. They all wanted Elian Gonzalez to stay when he floated over.
He was legal.
No, he wasn't. They caught him. They were illegally immigrating. Wait. They were immigrating illegally.
Okay, but did he touch the soil?
So do asylum seekers.
No. You're being disingenuous. There was a law where Cuban immigrants.
Yes, we had a
they
wet
touch
dry
the
foot.
soil,
I
they're
understand.
legal. So let little what's his name, Elian Gonzalez. Hey, let him stay. I want him to stay because that was the law of the land. So that's the difference.
But we're not talking about just what the we're not talking about just what the law is. I'm just saying that people can have.
We're not talking about the laws.
We're not talking about just what the law is.
Oh, just what the laws.
No.
Well, that's what I live my life based on.
Well, we can change the laws,
Oh my
right?
God.
You can, so go vote. Stop complaining.
We can do both. I have a First Amendment and a right to vote. But I'm just saying it's interesting to give so much credence to Cuban immigrants, but not to people from Mexico or South America.
I'm so
Don't love them as much.
confused.
Why?
Because the Cubans believe what I believe, and they
So do a
understand
lot of
what I
Mexican
understand.
immigrants and everything too.
And I love those Mexican legal citizens.
Sure,
but as far as the illegal immigrants, ship them back.
Sure. Okay. That's a perspective.
This is a very simple thing to understand.
Well, it's not as simple. It's a complicated conversation.
It's really not.
If it was so simple, then Trump wouldn't have failed miserably for his first 4 years, and we wouldn't go these 4 years without him also failing miserably. By the end of these 4 years, Trump will not have any immigration legislation, number one, and he won't deport more than 1 million or 2 million people, number two. I guarantee you by the end of these 4 years.
That's totally fine. So why are you guys using that as a political talking point?
Well, you wanted to bring it to legal immigration, so that's what we're
What
talking
you're
about.
actually afraid of is that what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with Kamala Harris during the campaign. Trump came up with a good idea that gained a lot of traction when it came to getting votes, and Kamala Harris jumped on it. No tax on tips. You're afraid that the Democrats will adopt Trump's policies because they are the policies that resonate with voters. So you have to take the college kids, the people with no real responsibility yet. I'm not trying to devalue you guys' experience. I'm just telling you, have you ever looked at a freaking mortgage that was like $5,000? Have you ever? Most people have not at this stage in their life.
Yeah, but people aren't voting all the time on wisdom. I saw Republicans celebrating the fact that they were going to have a tax deduction on the interest rate that you pay on a car loan. None of these people have any idea what this even means, but they were celebrating it. So the idea that people have some nuanced understanding of tax brackets.
Republicans celebrate a tax on car loan. I saw you guys celebrate some dude getting shot in the neck and make a joke and laugh about it. Which one is worse?
I would say the one that's worse is the president tweeting videos of Venezuelans getting blown up in the ocean. Wait, do you acknowledge that if celebrating the Charlie Kirk thing is bad, the Venezuelan thing is real bad?
The Venezuelan issue, why is that bad for me as an American?
What is it not bad that your president is ordering assassinations, like extrajudicial assassinations of like random fucking groups of people that you are not presented with enough evidence for? Also, like that you're putting on like social media for the world to see, so then everyone can point and laugh at people who died? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm so dude. Oh my god, get me out of this country already. Like, oh my nar. Okay, stop.
Do you not care when other people are killed?
Do you know that people in other countries don't give a damn about what happens to you in America?
I don't
Have you
care.
been
This
around
is
the world?
our
That's-
government.
Who
Yes,
cares
I have.
about
This is our
them?
government blowing up other people. Why am I not allowed to care about that?
But you
Oh,
care about the
hell no.
government and what they do when it's something you don't like. But when the leadership of the government is duly elected, you go and you tear at the validity of it as if, like, you don't respect the government, so why care about what they're doing?
If Biden was also
Overthrow it with
no,
the
if
insurrection
Biden,
like
if
January
Biden, yeah, I know
6th.
you guys tried that and failed once.
I
If
know.
Biden was doing this, if
We
Biden
failed.
was doing it, I would criticize Biden as well. I know it's inconceivable to MAGA sometimes. You could hold your own accountable because you guys are incapable of doing it. But when Biden does bad things, I'll criticize Biden for doing bad
Can
things.
you answer one question for me?
Sure.
Oh no.
Who's sitting in the White House?
Right now, probably Stephen Miller.
So,
What do you
go on.
True.
So clearly we didn't fail. We were pissed off. We went down.
Wait, what is this? The conversation is not about who won the election. You
Why
guys
not?
are the ones that don't believe election
Your
results.
whole
I do believe the election results.
Your whole existence is about who won the election. This whole event is about
No,
who won the election.
we're having a conversation about policy and leadership right now, right?
We are, because I said the hypocrisy, and you're showing that hypocrisy.
What is the
price of-
hypocrisy?
Look, you have a kid, I have a kid. What's the price of eggs right now?
I don't know. I'm rich.
That's something that Yes. So give me some money. If
You know
you're-
what I do know
this-
is that the price of groceries as a whole has gone up over the last year, and no conservatives talking about it. Explain that one for
Hey,
me.
you know, I've been tracking that.
Okay.
We're living in
He's
inflationary
been
times.
tracking
They
Oh,
can
now
take
they're just
it under
inflationary
Biden.
times.
Listen,
It's interesting that from 2020 to 2024, it was Biden's inflation. From
I love it.
2024 to now, it just is a thing that happens.
it's directly connected to Biden's horrible management of the government, and Trump's going to fix it. Let me say
What was
this.
the big thing? Wait, what do you think was the number one thing that contributed to inflation through Biden's presidency?
I believe that. Well, one thing was killing a bunch of chickens due to some
Okay.
mysterious.
What?
Well, that was
Strike
Biden's
one.
reason.
Try
That was
something else. Try
no,
something else.
that
What
was
did anything else happen?
Is that not? Is that
Did anything
not,
else happen?
Wait, before we
Yeah,
go
so
forward,
I
is that
can't-
not the
I
reason that
can't-
Biden
I
said
can't-
the price
I
of
can't
eggs
with
went
this.
up because they had to kill a
I
bunch
can't-
of
I
chickens?
can't with
For
this.
at
This
one point in time, it
Amen.
might have been, but that's not what we're talking
This
about. For
is-
the
he's
majority
so
of the presidency,
unserious.
especially in the beginning,
He's so
and then 2022 onwards,
unserious.
where were these big inflation hikes coming from? What were the two huge events that happened?
What I believe was.
Do we not know?
No. Let me tell you. This is what my research that I did, because I'll be honest with you, I
Okay.
wasn't deep diving
That's
into
fine.
this because I was working to feed my family.
Okay.
But I believe the price of energy.
Yeah, we all work to
increased
feed our family.
exponentially.
Okay, damn. That's what
That
you're supposed to
creates
do.
It has a cascade effect. It raises the price of everything. Everything has to be shipped. If you raise the price of energy, then everything that has to be shipped, the price will go up.
Okay. I'm about to do a magic trick. Ready?
We know you're
about to do a magic trick. Ready?
make that disappear
So
for all these
I'm
people.
curious. Why was the last year of Trump's presidency so horrible for the economy?
COVID. It was.
Okay. So the whole world economy is shut down. The government is having to keep things running in every country. Why can we blame COVID for Donald Trump's last year on COVID, but we can't also recognize the worldwide inflation that happened? Did Biden cause inflation in all the other countries too?
Biden caused inflation in America by locking everything down, bringing the American economy basically to a standstill. We should have kept doing. Let me tell you this: during COVID, right? I still could fly from America to Africa. I did it 4 times during COVID.
What?
KLM was still flying in. The airports were still moving. Everybody's
Wait,
going.
what?
I could still walk into Costco, Rouse, and Stater Brothers, but I couldn't go into a mom and pop store to buy something because they had to shut down due to COVID. I couldn't go to a small restaurant, while Gavin Newsom's restaurant, the French Laundry, stayed open. The small business is the engine of America. When you shut them down, you shut the economy down. Corporations don't employ more people than small businesses. So I like your question. I think it was asked in bad faith, but that's how Biden.
I don't think my question was asked in bad faith. I'll also remark that it was interesting that you mentioned having to work through COVID to pay for your family, and the cost of eggs is important to you.
Oh, yeah.
But you know the name of an international airline, and you flew to Africa 4 times during COVID. I don't know where.
Work hard.
Working hard, yeah, okay. But I'm just saying that everybody around the world was figuring out how to deal with COVID.
Okay, I'm just curious. Is flying to Africa a part of his job or something? Why was it 4 times? I'm just so curious, okay? Like, let's just say he was visiting maybe extended family or something. I don't fucking know, dude. I just don't know, right? But like, how was it like 4 times during COVID? I just don't. This is so unserious. And you said that Biden killed too many chickens. I don't. Yeah, no, this is just unserious. I don't.
There were a lot of shutdowns. There's a lot of worldwide there was a lot of inflation everywhere. It's just strange that, when I'm asking, like, well, why for Biden? What happened in the United States? Well, it was like the after effects of COVID was happening, right?
Biden came in immediately, signed a bunch of executive orders that halted our economy. And then
That things were already shutting down under Trump.
No, what? What was shutting down under Trump?
Everything.
No, don't say everything. Tell me what was
Schools, businesses. I lived in California. Did you live here? Do you live in California?
Yes, I do. Schools are not business.
When COVID started, everything was shut down. I drove up and down the 5. I could go 10 miles in 10 minutes for the first time in my life in this
Destiny-
state. Who remembers this?
Des-
Everything was shut
Destiny,
down. Hold on. I
you're
remember the
doing the
lines
Destiny
outside
thing.
the grocery store. I lived in Culver City. I remember the lines outside the grocery stores where we had to line up to get groceries. That was all of that under Trump.
Do you know why they had to line up?
Because Biden did it from the future? Was it the T-1000?
Because the small... No. That's because people were going in...
Under Trump.
No, but you know what was happening. People were fighting over
If
groceries.
Trump didn't shut down the economy, then why did COVID hurt his economy at all?
Trump didn't shut down the economy. Okay, look, like I said, the whole... you asked me a question. Can I ask you a question?
You haven't answered any of my questions.
I really did.
Can we acknowledge that
I explained the thing about
all the
small
shutdowns and
businesses.
all that stuff happened? That was under Donald Trump.
No, that was not. I don't know.
He was the president in 2020.
What did Trump shut down? Please tell me.
All the
What
states
order?
that shut down.
The states are sovereign. So
Then why does Biden get blamed for
Wait a
anything?
minute. Can I finish?
Sorry, go ahead.
Can I finish?
You can
I thought, okay, dude, he's gonna bring up vaccines.
Okay. The blue states shut down, draconian lockdowns. The red states, most of them did not. So that's the sovereignty of the state. But when Biden came into office, Biden was putting the pressure on the states to shut down. He was putting the pressure on the businesses, on the states to lock down. So when the president says something, that gives validity to the illegal things that the states are doing. If Gavin Newsom is doing illegal shutdowns, if the president says, yeah, you should shut down, now it's easier for them to do because people look at
Then
look
why
at it
didn't
like the
Donald Trump
president
just tell all the
supports it.
states to open up?
He did.
No,
he was
didn't.
telling.
No.
He was encouraging
No,
them.
he wasn't. The United States declared a
Destiny-
global. This was one of Trump's biggest. I know we forget because
right.
we like to wipe the past. Donald Trump's biggest accomplishments was him shutting down flights from China and recommending people, take precautionary measures. Everybody blamed Cuomo in New York for murdering all the old people by sending grandma to an old person's home or whatever.
Didn't the Democrats argue that Trump didn't shut down flights in time? That's how COVID got into America.
Sure, because you could argue that
No,
you
which
could have
one
made
do
it
you
earlier.
want? Do you
Hold
want
on,
to shut it down or
I'm
not?
not. You're talking about what the Democrats said.
No,
I'm talking
you're
about factually what happened.
I'm bringing up what. Listen, I was on.
I'm just talking about what happened.
I was in Frankfurt Airport when Donald Trump shut down all flights coming from Europe into the United States, and I watched as airlines flew people into Canada, and they went around Trump's rule.
Okay, so if Donald Trump was shutting down flights, wouldn't you say that counts as pressure to shut down the economy?
Because the Democrats were they were on one side.
This guy's the meme. It's like no matter what happens, it's always the Democrats' fault. Like this guy's literally the meme, right? Like he literally is. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even legendary gun. But like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter to this guy. Like everything is just like this is just memes. It's all memes, okay?
Okay, so on one hand, you want the flight shut down.
We're not talking about what I want. I'm just talking about what happened.
No, I'm talking about the hive mind.
You're talking about anything but what would give Trump accountability for anything.
You guys all think the same, so I'm just addressing you as general.
You say we all think the same. I literally predicted like two
Trump
of your
have
answers
shut
so
it-
far.
Let me ask you a
Right,
question.
yeah.
Should Trump have shut it down, or should Trump have left it open?
I don't know what Trump necessarily should have done.
that's why I said it's bad faith. It's
Can I
bad
finish
faith.
my? I let you
I
finish.
don't know.
I don't know what the answer should have been, but I know what the process should have looked
What
like.
would you
and
have
that
done?
was the process should have been him conferring with the National Institute of Health, the CDC, and him conferring with the state governments to put together some kind of comprehensive guidelines for the whole country instead of hanging out Fauci to dry, watching the CDC and the NIH issue some kind of guidelines, and then whenever anything didn't go perfectly as planned, him lobbing grenades from the side like a loser, blaming everybody else for all of his problems.
We're not going to disrespect the president. We all watched the video.
Okay, this guy has to be a troll. This guy's a troll. This guy's a troll. Okay, nah, we're not gonna disrespect the president. What? What? Hello? Are we living in the same world? Are we living in the United States? Does the First Amendment not apply here?
We all watched the video of Anthony Fauci saying, "Oh, COVID-19 is not a big deal. You'll get a little flu. You might have a little cough, sneeze, whatever."
That was Trump.
That was
When
no.
Donald Trump.
There is a video. I watched it with my own eyes. Fauci dismissed COVID as a very minor thing. Later on, and Trump went with Fauci's advice. Then when they start saying, then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, he should have shut this down and shut that down." I saw the trick. I saw how they went from saying it wasn't a big thing to worry about, and then all of a sudden it was the worst thing ever. But what I'm telling you is the arguments are in bad faith. Everything in this movement is built on inclusivity, equity, and justice, all this crap, right? But my thing is this: if we want inclusive, like, would you guys agree you want inclusivity and equity and all that? You guys don't want that.
Not anymore.
Do you guys want? I'm asking this question. I'm asking this question sincerely. This isn't good. Do they believe in that? Do you guys believe in that? Inclusivity, equity?
The problem is
No,
this
I'm
conversation has pivoted to a DEI question after your president killed
This
like
is what
a million
they
plus
believe in.
Americans, killed a million plus Americans by telling them not to get
You're-
vaccinated
you're-
because nobody had any idea
Jesus.
what was going on in this country, what was going on with our health, what was going on with anything because of all the lies and misinformation and crazy stuff that was being put out.
So you don't know what Trump should have done, but you criticize what he did. And what I do, because this is how my parents raised me, I put myself in that person's shoes.
I told you what the process should have looked like. I don't know what the correct answer
I'm
was.
asking you, what would you have done?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
You bring your cabinet, your leaders together, you make a conference plan, you get all the governors on board with it, and then you have a unified plan from top to bottom for how you want to approach the country shutdown.
How do you do that when you have a two-party system where one side is vehemently opposed to working with you on anything? And I'm not saying...
Hold on, wait, excuse me. First of all, Donald Trump billed himself as the negotiator.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you want to talk about a party that was opposed to everything. Seems like Biden had no problem bringing Republicans in to work on his legislation. When McConnell was the leader of the Senate, he said that he was going to make Obama a one-term president and shut down every piece of legislation that came across his desk.
Right.
So who's working with who here?
I think that there's room for bipartisanship. I do not believe that the Democrats were working in good faith with Trump because they were not happy that an outsider actually achieved the office of president like Trump did. They literally blocked Trump on so many different things. They basically were doing the same thing to Trump that you said was being done to Biden.
I don't even want to know what you're implying.
Okay,
what
yeah.
This is
So this is the thing.
When I'm saying, first of all, Trump is not an outsider also. So
He's
Wharton
an
graduate,
outsider. He's not a
billionaire guy,
politician.
real estate investor.
He wasn't a politician.
So, I mean, I don't know, Reagan initially wasn't a politician. What do you mean? Arnold Schwarzenegger was an actor. He made,
Yeah.
Whoa, what'd
Some
you
of the
say,
best.
Steve?
The best
I think
were all
people,
outsiders.
when I see a guy who's being an asshole, I think people probably don't like him because he's an asshole.
What does being an asshole have to do with anything?
With whether or not people like
Are
you?
you not going to go to work because your boss is an asshole?
There's a lot of people that quit their job because they hate their boss. Yeah, what do you mean?
Those people are idiots. But what I'm telling you is this is more like the
Wait, you're an idiot? You're an idiot for quitting your job because your boss is an asshole? Wait, what? Wait, you see? Okay, that he must be misspeaking, okay? The only way I can explain this is that he's misspeaking. Okay, I mean, cool, I guess.
that I argue in reality. You're arguing feelings, subjective crap that doesn't mean anything. Objectivity. If I want to argue something, objective. God. This is about inclusivity, equity, all that stuff. Why did you guys have to pay? If it's all about inclusivity and equity, we could have did this in the park with an iPhone.
If you want to talk about
you
facts,
should donate your money to their colleges, like scholarship.
If you want to
I think you should donate the proceeds of this event to
right now, I'm donating
education.
my money and my taxes so we can pay for a Venezuelan bailout. That's what we're doing right now. Or Argentinian bailout. I don't know who we're bailing out right now. Okay.
You would like what?
So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm subsidizing all of the meth head measles infected red states right now. That's where my tax money is going. Okay. I don't have any extra money right now.
May I please make one statement?
What?
May I please make one statement?
Go ahead.
And I'll get off stage.
No, wait, hold on, wait. I have one question. Why, if you want to talk about facts over feelings,
Let me get one
why
statement.
is it that when we ask about Trump's leadership through COVID, we have a million excuses for?
I don't have any excuses.
So he failed.
I'm not going to say he failed. I think he dealt with. No, listen. How can someone who admitted that they don't know what they would have done and they don't know what he should have done?
I wasn't the president.
That's the point. It is something that has. This is something that in our lifetime has never occurred.
Yeah, these are the Democrat arguments for why people were shutting down and people didn't know how long the economy should stay closed for and what the stimulus should look like.
Anybody can armchair.
Did Trump make any mistakes during COVID?
Look.
Did Trump make a single mistake during COVID?
Let me think.
Okay, this. I mean, he's kind of playing. He's kind of playing into it a little bit, right? But damn, dude, Jesus.
Did January 6th happen during COVID?
Maybe, yeah.
He should have never conceded the election. He should have just freaking out. That was his only mistake.
Oh, dude, what? Oh my God. Of course. Yeah, of course. He's a fucking Gen 6er. Yeah, of course. Not saying that he's a Gen 6er as in he literally went there, but like he's a. Okay, no, I'll let him cook. Okay.
That was his only mistake. Now can I ask my question?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. All I'm saying is, will you, since we're all about flowers and equality and everybody get free stuff, people will argue for illegal criminal alien migrants to come live off the American dime, right? You want to give my taxpayer dollars to them. Will you give the proceeds from this event to these kids for whatever they want, just to make their life a little bit more equal to yours and mine since we're doing so well?
I've never advocated for that. What are
I'm
you
just
talking
asking.
about? Well, there's no advocation for this.
So you don't want equity and economic equity?
Do you support Chicago police fighting back against ICE?
No.
Okay, so then you don't believe in the Second Amendment or the state's rights to have a militia?
No, that's not a militia.
That's literally what the militia is. The whole reason the Second Amendment exists was for the states to protect themselves from a tyrannical government.
Are you really going to try to conflate a paramilitary group, which is police?
The Chicago police?
The police department?
Is paramilitary, the guys coming from the Black Hawk choppers with the masks who are...
Dude, these guys have tanks. There are police departments with tanks.
No,
there's not.
Paramilitaries have tanks. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything?
There are police departments with tanks.
So, yeah, they come from the military.
That makes them paramilitary. What I'm telling you is this. That is not a militia. The law enforcement's job is to uphold and defend the Constitution. That's what their job is.
To enforce their
when
state
they're
laws.
fighting against
to
the
enforce
federal,
their state laws. State sovereignty doesn't matter now to conservatives?
You're conflating two different things.
I'm not conflating anything.
You're kind of just going off of an emotional thing.
I'm not going off an emotional thing. I'm going off a legal thing. You're going off of emotions. You think cops are there to make you feel good.
Federal government,
state police are there for state laws. Local police are for local laws. The federal government is there for federal laws.
The federal government trumps, no pun intended, any local law enforcement.
If they trump any local
Is
law
that
enforcement,
wrong?
well, you tell me. Why did Trump allow half the country to close then under COVID?
Huh?
Why
You're
did Trump allow
moving
half
the goalposts, Destiny.
I'm not
I'm
moving the
doing that
goalposts.
with
The
you.
president has that
I'm
much
not
control
doing
over
that with you.
everything.
I'm not
Then
doing
why
that
did
with
Trump
you.
allow half the country to close under COVID?
Someone may want to do that with you, but I'm not doing it. Are we talking about the police departments committing treason against the federal
They're not
government?
committing to. They have no
That's
obligation.
exactly what they're
They
doing.
don't have
do.
obligation to enforce
They
federal law.
took an oath to defend the Constitution and the city.
Did he say pay attention oath? Destiny does not look like an oath compared to this guy, okay? But, okay.
Citizens under their care.
Oh my
The police
God.
force is there to enforce the
Jesus.
laws that they have jurisdiction
Right,
over,
but
not federal laws.
But the police forces are abandoning their responsibility, like
Bro, he's gonna go back and like fucking chomp down 50 more like fucking Waffle House orders. And then California is gonna have to subsidize his healthcare for diabetes treatment again, okay? Like at the end of the day, like that's what these people are, right? Like they just take California's hard-earned surplus money, okay? Surplus taxes, all right? And it subsidizes their fucking healthcare, okay? These leeches, oath, oh, okay. These leeches to the American economy, okay? Yikes.
Portland.
They don't have an
Come
obligation
on,
to
man.
do
They
that.
did. When you call the police in Portland, they don't show up for 3 hours. Someone got knocked unconscious the other day in Portland. The ICE agents had to come get that guy off the street and bring him in for medical
Yeah, there was a
care.
lady that got shot and killed by the feds
Okay.
in the Capitol building
Those
on
things
January
happen.
6th when Trump refused to send anybody there.
She shouldn't have been trying to break into Congress.
Sure, but Trump also probably shouldn't have told them all to go there, right?
He did tell him to go peacefully.
No, he said they
And
would be marching peacefully. He also
patriotically.
don't fight like hell or they're going to lose their country, and that's what they went and did.
Hey, I saw you lose this argument on
I
Jubilee.
didn't lose this
don't
argument. I
wanna
won it
rehash this
completely.
out
It's
again.
completely 100%. I know every part of that argument.
Trump
Trust
said
me.
peacefully and patriotically.
Trump said fight like hell or you'll lose your country.
Every,
If he said peacefully and patriotically, how do so many people misunderstand him?
so anytime you, so
Is he a bad communicator too?
listen, I heard Hillary Clinton say, "I'm a fighter." Kamala Harris said, "I'm a fighter." Neither one of these women have ever.
How many people do you see
have
fighting in
ever
the
thrown a
street
punch.
with Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris banners?
Dude, I saw a kook on the freeway earlier. Biden Harris and Harris Walls on the freaking bumper sticker with all these other cat stickers.
You saw a car driving.
These are. How did they get?
This is
a
like the
license?
conservative machine
How did
right
they
here.
get a
This is your
license?
problem.
Yes.
Is the bumper stickers.
Yes,
That's what's
yes.
driving you crazy.
I'm just listen, Destiny. I'm a common man, and my
You
concern.
had 4 trips to Africa over COVID. What kind of
What can I
common
say?
man?
Very common. I'm a common man. I have my concerns are those of a common man. Arguing all these different.
The common man goes
issues
to Africa 4
means
times over
nothing to
COVID?
me.
Not compared
How
to
do-
DEI?
How do I feed my family? And are you going to give the proceeds from this event to these beautiful people who showed up? I
After
don't think
you
they got the
defend-
show they wanted because those first 3 guys were
After you
terrible.
defend states' rights to defend themselves
Let's
from a
have
tyrannical
equality.
federal government.
How about this, guys? How about I'll give you everything in my pocket. You guys divide up immediately. Destiny donates
Okay.
the proceeds of this event
All
to you
right.
guys equally.
All right,
I
final.
think that's a good idea.
Brandon gets the final word there. Brandon gets the final word. What do you got?
My final word is this, guys. Just wait a little while. Don't be
What?
Don't be so. Listen. Don't be so hyped up over what's happening even now. In 3 years, Donald Trump's going to be gone, and you're going to have to make a very important decision about the future of this country. I would start preparing to make the right decision about that instead of complaining about something you can't change. Trump will be president for the next 3 years, whether you like it or not. In 4 years, a lot
Who
changes. A lot
knows?
of you will have families, maybe kids, whatever that you want or you don't want. When you start having those type of responsibilities, your entire perspective is going to change. Mine did as I got older. I would not hang my hat on this crap because you're going to inherit this country and your children will inherit it from you.
Oh my god, bro, you look like you're like mid 40s at max, okay? Oh my god. Like you don't look like you're in your 50s. I mean, maybe you're in your 50s, just like maybe, but like I'm sorry, you can't just claim that you're old and just run with it, dude. Like I don't know, I'm sorry. It's just oh my god, people claiming the old card. Gee, fuck me.
Don't create a situation that they can't come back from. And I think that's what we're at risk at with this type of rhetoric. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Put your hands together for Brandon. He had a really good run. All right. Wow. Just by show of hands quickly, how many people have kids in the audience? Okay, yeah. Yeah, we have some parents in the audience, just FYI. I have a kid. Okay. Wow, that was a good run. We're going to go straight into our next debater. Let's put our hands together for Eugene Janis. Everyone, here comes Eugene.
Travis.
What's up, buddy?
Bottle of water? Hey, what's up?
Hey. Okay, so immediately, I am not conservative. I am left. I am
Speak in the mic if you
Democratic
can.
the whole time here.
Okay.
I'm actually here to have a good faith corroboration debate thing, as one of the complaints I've been getting so far, messaging-wise, is especially with the Prop 50. We got to get this, we got to win, that's it. The only thing, my biggest concern is they say that and they say it in a way as if we don't win, they don't have a plan for afterward. So I kind of want to ask people, what's your plan for after Trump, and what could be a thing to actually move forward for it? Because right now there's housing.
I mean, some people would say that after Trump is like that is a plan that we even survived.
Yeah,
and
like
have like
absolutely.
an actual
But
election. event.
if you were trying to motivate people to survive through it, what would be a thing that could be actually pushed toward it? And I have some ideas, and we can go through some of them. But
Expedition 33 has been a fun game.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I mean, like, part of what you're saying,
Okay.
Part of an issue,
Right.
there's like so much, you could write a dissertation on several aspects of this, I think, but there's this whole media environment that conservatives have had top-down control of, and there's this whole like movement that they've had so much control of. And one of the nice things I feel with conservatism is there's always an enemy, there's always marching orders, there's always something to fight against, there's always some like greater project or thing or movement, you know, you're a part of, whether you're protecting, you know, the wiener dogs from the evil Haitians eating them, or whether you're protecting your borders from the 5, 10, 15, 25 million immigrants, however many are coming in, they've always got a thing to work towards. I think that one of the consequences or side effects of Democrats always being on the defensive when it comes to Republican messaging is you never really get to establish your own thing because you're always living like in the shadow of the criticisms of the other party, saying like, well, I'm not that, I'm not Trump, I'm not this, I'm not whatever. And so you have a hard time like coming up and defining what you're doing. I really like that Newsom responded to Texas with the mutually assured gerrymandering or whatever. I thought I was
Just match
so.
it.
That was
I'm gonna
amazing.
negate
I never would have
stuff.
expected anybody to do that. It made me almost consider moving back to California.
You should. It's great.
Almost.
Oh.
But the thing is that Democrats just have to do a better job at like so many different things, and I think that other things will come as a result of doing some things well. So more specifically, I think that if Democrats had stronger media figures that weren't always getting stabbed in the back, by all the other pundits and all the other people on the left who could come out and have stronger positions, then I think that you would just see like there should still be an intentionality behind creating movements and policies and ideas to do things, but you would at least have that naturally and organically happening with some of these figures. Gavin Newsom is one. As much as this guy's way to the left, I think Mamdani in New York City is probably going to be another one. AOC to some extent, you know, is one she's kind of in the background. But yeah,
I
so
think
that's important.
a lot of the stuff I watch online, I watch you, I watch a bunch of other people. There's
Why is there a gender preference poll? Oh, because DGG was like fucking 95%, fucking over 99%, not over 99%, but like over 95% like cis guy or male. So yeah, that's just like a completely scuffed statistic. So I just wanted to one up DGG, okay, which I already am, okay? 99% cis male, yeah. Completely scuffed demographics we're talking about, okay? Yeah. Great stuff.
the point where I almost
I
just
gotta
asked
one
the
up
question,
that,
like,
okay?
are they cooperating? Are they doing everything possible to at least show that they're trying to make efforts, burning calories to do things,
Who's
share
they,
messaging?
people or politicians, or what are you talking about?
Even like, how many people are just backing each other on certain things? You know, like,
Are you talking about like the political group, or are you talking
yeah,
about, like,
or sharing, or hey, when you're done watching me, go do this. Or the other one is, if anybody watches John Oliver, my biggest complaint on his show is he gives us a bunch of shit that is absolutely horrid, doomer shit, and then doesn't tell us what to do about any of it.
Sure.
Like, just, I don't know, eat it, get ulcers, fuck off, see you next week. Like, it's unhelpful.
I mean, I agree. I think that part of this, I've talked about this a lot on stream, is the idea that the sides are playing different games sometimes. So on the conservative side, they are playing the politics game. It is the Game of Thrones. They want to win their seats, and everything they do at the end of the day is geared towards some political end. And on the left, that's not really the same game that I think a lot of the kind of alternative media people are playing. And as a result of that, they don't play it the same way. Like, if you've watched my stream for any number of years, like, you've heard me remark how crazy it is that, you know, you had fucking Benny Johnson. God, what a fucking loser, okay? And like, even like for his class of people, he's even a loser.
Bro, Benny Johnson has to be one of the most like smarmiest, like shameless, disgusting assholes to exist like in the political commentary space. I don't even want to consider like his commentating to be like political commentary anymore. I don't know. I feel like John Oliver distinctly does the opposite of what this guy claimed. I don't know. I'm trying to remember whether or not like I remember whether or not like John Oliver has made any kind of like prescriptions that his audience could follow, and I don't seem to recall any like direct prescriptions. I think the only thing that he said is you know, keep your eyes out or something, right, for X and Y. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I can't really remember any prescriptions that John Oliver has given, but I could be wrong.
You're just like, Jesus, you'll never meet. Raise your hand if you've ever met an actual Benny Johnson fan in the real world. Anyway, okay, we got one guy over there met him. Okay, guy who manages his YouTube. What?
Well, I'm sure you're gonna see a lot if you go to Moscow. Somebody said Russia. Yeah, that was what I was going with. Okay. True.
Yeah, they're in Russia.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Do you speak Russian? Okay. Okay. So you have him doing shows. I believe it was out of the White House. They invited a bunch of
a couple of them.
And then on the left, you got like, so for a while, I don't know what the streamer numbers are for other people, but me, Hasan, and Vash are like the three largest ostensibly left-leaning streamers. We can't do any content together.
Yeah.
Those two hate everybody for
Absolutely.
different
It's
reasons.
uncooperative.
Yeah,
They're
there's
like,
no cooperation anywhere, and you're seeing this like cringe. I'm trying so hard. I imagine if you have a that's too edgy. There's some people that are hard to love. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying my hardest to love Hakeem Jeffries, and my God, watching him say anything positive at all about Eric Adams fucking killed me. I'm like, please God, stop. If you guys say you don't want to endorse Mamdani for whatever reason, okay, whatever, maybe I get it. But like to sit here and simp for this loser, the Democrats have a really hard time kind of like bringing people together, working together, and that extends from the political figures down through to the influencers and the YouTubers and everybody else. It's an issue. Yeah.
One of the things to take like a news diet off of for a while, and I chose extremely poorly. Don't do this. I started researching cults.
My girlfriend's mom is a Floridian who's been brainwashed by Benny Johnson types. Yeah, that's always sad to see. See like a family member who, succumbs to something like that. Because what it kind of feels like, it kind of feels like you've lost a family member, Like it kind of feels like, it's like there's something about grief that happens, when you lose a family member to like MAGA or like any kind of ideology that you completely disagree with. It's a very sad thing to see.
And that was a bad move on my part.
You don't even have to turn off the news right now to research.
Well, like that turned in. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many similarities in between, and you kind of come up with your own theories and stuff. But like, I would say my upbringing was very old school Italian. We'll say like lots of hand waving and screaming at each other and stuff. That was how we showed love. Later, I realized, oh, that's hardcore abusive in so many ways. But it has prepared me for having conversations with other people, such as the last guy that was here or anything like that. Just not backing down. You don't have to escalate. Doesn't have to get violent. But also, I can't just cower down and just let you steamroll me over that. And I feel like that's an actual thing to take pride of in America, that most people didn't have to deal with that. But now it's almost a requirement because they're just unprepared for this kind of battle.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it, unfortunately, comes down to people don't talk about this as much. We say like, oh, misinformation, we kind of like move on from it. But like, the internet has truly changed everything. And like in some ways, like I feel better sitting across from like an actual neo-Nazi who has like a strong belief system that's opposite mine, and we can have the fundamental differences, morally. For the last guy that sat here and argued with me, my feeling, I could be wrong, but my feeling is that he probably wants what's the best for this country, what's the best for his family, best for his, his children, everything else. And I think that it's tragic that there is such a wall of like different realities that we can't communicate with each other. And especially when there is so much incentive online to feed people certain realities, because you make money on the algorithm, or other people are making money, pushing propaganda or whatever, or because the Republicans are playing the politics game a little bit too well. So,
do you think that could actually be a platform to run on? Of like, we're going to fix internet or fix the algorithms?
Absolutely not.
Or no?
No.
Full on no?
No, because I think one of the issues is it's hard to tell people this, but people like it. I think people want it. Like, I mean, how long did you watch me do my COVID lab leak research?
Yes,
That's
that
some
was
boring stuff, right?
That was
That's
boring.
agonizing. But watching me go outside and scream at people online is really fun. And people like that more. Now, my audience is special, and I would never criticize them for anything. But like, you can see like where the interest is in terms of what people consume. I wouldn't mind it so much as though I wish that people understood more what they were watching, and that it was more accurately understood what was being shown. So like if you want to watch like videos of Ben Shapiro or Charlie Kirk or Destiny or whatever, like screaming at college kids and owning them, I think you should be able to do that, and I think it's fine to do it. I think it's fun to do it, but know that you're watching a professional like smurfing through a bunch of college kids and annihilating them. You're not. This is not like a serious intellectual good faith challenge between two equivalent parties.
But what about say like social media algorithms? You can identify where the account is from. And come like, oh, this is clearly, I don't think they have America's best interest because it's from China, or something like that.
Personally, I think that I've said that for a while. That should be like a law that I think is passed. That if there's like a major
One thing that's always frustrated me is that when people were criticizing Destiny for criticizing Charlie Kirk for smurfing college students, they're missing the point. It isn't that like oh, you're going after college students, right? It's that you're going after college students and you're avoiding debates with bigger figures, right? Or it's a very controlled environment if you're like going after someone for that debate, right? I don't know. Like I feel like people are just missing the point. Like it's true that Destiny does smurf, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, the thing is that I mean, at least he's willing to debate people that are outside of the fucking retarded college students, right? Or the hecklers. But yeah, Jesus Christ.
enough social media counter media figure, their country of origin should be identified.
Yeah.
Because I think if you consumed media from 10 different large accounts and that law went into effect, and the next day you found out that like 8 of them were from Russia, 1 was
Yep.
from Qatar, and 1 was from China, I think it would make you look at those accounts like a little bit differently.
Yeah, I would hope so. And would you want to retweet them or kind of investigate them more? Or maybe I don't want to do this. Can I start unfollowing them? Something like that.
Yeah.
That
Because I think one thing, I say this a lot when it comes to the whole, who disavows violence first or mutually assured destruction. One thing I mentioned when it came to the Russian-led DNC and
hacks,
the DCCC hacks or whatever, is selective transparency is worse than no transparency.
Yeah, 'cause it
it's
gives
better to know
authority to it.
nothing than to gather a few facts. Because when you gather a few facts here, you start to make assumptions about that,
Yep.
and you might be way more wrong than if you
Just
didn't know
fill in
anything
the
at all. Yeah, so I feel like if we had, a media environment that was a little bit more regulated in some ways, but like
CK
people
got
just
permanent
don't-
banned by
I don't know anybody
God.
that would actually want that. Nobody's like
Jesus.
really pushing for that.
Yeah.
But having
Well,
some
I
of the
think it's
selective
also-
skills, like for like just real quick, like APAC
Yeah, yeah.
is the thing that everybody knows, right? Everybody talks about APAC, but it's
Yeah.
because they've got a publicly registered. You can see everybody they donate to and everything else, but you don't know who the foreign people are supporting, or you don't know who's behind a lot of the big Twitter
Yep.
accounts. So yeah.
And I guess I would also add in there, like, some of the things that like housing could affect everybody, MAGA and whatnot, but like something quick would be like an automatic, like better spam laws for texting or cell phones.
I think
something
Bush
like that.
passed some of those, didn't he?
And they all got
those?
repealed, yeah.
Did they?
Or,
Yeah,
he was
well,
taking
that
it
and a lot
out.
of our technology is
got more
old
sophisticated.
because we have to have backdated stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But like upgrading some of that or something that could be noticeable, you could actually tell them, hey, on this date, no more spam calls unless it's like actually registered or something. Just trying to run on something that would actually improve somebody's day. That because I can't come up and say like you're going to fix housing. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I'm going to afford it. I don't know if that includes me. Like most people when they say what generation they're in, they don't actually know what age range or.
Yeah, but I think one
idea.
issue is because we've become so detached from each other. Like if you had somebody who wanted like a $10 an hour minimum wage and somebody who
Right.
wanted a $20 minimum wage, having these people fight with each other, it might seem like they're both radical to each other. But if you separate them, the guy at $10 an hour is going to be in a group where they're going to be people arguing for no minimum wage, and the guy at 20 an hour is going to be arguing for a living wage for anybody who looks at a job.
Yeah.
So like you get these people that are so far apart from each other because they're not communicating.
Also dictating where they live and stuff too. Their whole entire situation.
But then it's hard because like we can sit here and talk about like, oh, what would transparency look like for a better social media environments? Well, right now half the country is willing to accept Donald Trump having cryptocurrencies
Yes.
under his family name that are literally, this is the definition of like untraceable money. And he's having, dinners where people who are the top dollar donor, it sounds like a fucking Twitch stream, right? The biggest subber of the month is allowed to come and have a conversation with him.
But like if you ask them like how does this
Glitch, don't
entire
know.
cryptocurrency scam work? Like most of them don't know. They just know it's okay because Donald Trump's doing it.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. So that's
it's
how do
the
we
kind
push
of
for
call
those things?
undertilling there.
Yeah.
Let me see.
All right, final point there, Eugene.
I just appreciate the conversation really quick. I hope people take this as like an actual good faith conversation of how to improve things. Some of the stuff will work, some of it won't. Other people have ideas. If anybody has any ideas or anything, I'll be in the back. Sure. And I'm trying to start up something called Monetized Talking, which is a ridiculous way of saying running a podcast network. But the general consensus is like how to break through to the other side, but also
Self-promo.
do it in an authentic way where they trust it enough to go like, well, I don't believe what he says, but he hasn't shown me wrong yet. Because like I would say a lot of the stuff on our side is the hyperbolicness, as opposed to this is the exact thing that was said. And like you don't necessarily do that, but you hear other people on Twitter, this is what happened, this is what I saw, and it just kind of goes back and forth, and it disrupts the trust that could have happened to people that are snapped out of the cult. And the other part is if you are in the cult, like go find other people that left. So you have an actual place to go. There's definitely people that are like, oh, I don't like this. I wanted the Epstein stuff. But also, if I start telling people this, I'm going to lose my job, my family, my kids. No one's going to talk to me. I'm going to get run out of town. So I'm going to shut the fuck up and just nod. So
Yeah. I mean, I think having a more cohesive media environment and more cohesive reality, I think would get in that direction. But that's a huge monumental task.
yeah, exactly. I appreciate it.
All right, put your hands together for Eugene. Thank you so much. Awesome stuff, man. Okay, quick roll call for debaters that may or may not have arrived late here. Baron's here. Okay, great. We got Baron. David, you bought a debate ticket? David. No David. The person who wanted to be called UBI. Are you here? You're here? Okay, fantastic. We got UBI. Simon Park. Are you here? No Simon Park? All right. And we already have
they're running.
Brandon Lee. Did we already have Brandon
Get
Lee?
him!
Brandon Lee back there? Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get to you. Okay, awesome. And Eric Melkor. Eric? Oh, that's you. Okay. All right. Well, that's you. Let's go with Eric Melkor next. Come on up, Eric. Come on down. He needs a long applause. He's got a long way to walk here. Keep it going for Eric. Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up?
All right, so I'm going to take this conversation on a whole different direction.
Okay.
From
Oh
what
no,
you've been
I'm
talking so
scared.
far. How seriously do you view the threat of automation, and what's the time span for that?
I would say not seriously at all, just because I'm not well enough versed on it to know.
It's not. It's not. Okay, I'm sorry, but okay, listen. This might sound condescending because I know that he's debating right now in like San Francisco, right? Because he's debating in San Francisco right now. Just so you know, like everybody in like this entire fucking Bay Area space, are like entirely like amped up on the fear of AI and amped up on like the possibilities that AI can bring, okay? All I'm going to tell you guys is that it's really not as much of a big deal compared to Trump destroying the fabric of democracy, okay? Whatever your fear is for AI, it literally is the most minuscule thing compared to Trump's like devastating hatcheting and execution, like the gross evisceration that he is doing to our democracy. It's not even close. Okay, it's not even close. Okay, like I would probably argue, like I would honestly probably argue that Trump's like fucking holy shit! How did you melt? Are you cheating? Okay. All me, baby? Yeah, right, cheater. No fucking way. What was that? But yeah, sorry. What the fuck? But anyway, okay. Yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, again, it's just, okay. Okay, sorry. My mind was so boggled by this. Holy shit. The point is that the point is AI really isn't that big of a deal. Okay, it really isn't. I think it will create a lot of like fucking job differences. I'm sure a lot of like waiters and waitresses will be replaced by robots and by touchscreens, obviously. But the thing is that that is still, in my opinion, at the very least. I mean, I promise I'm not trying to sound condescending or anything. Okay, that is still small beans compared to the destruction of our country. Yeah, okay. All right, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that
AI is a
there's
big
like
deal?
of
Of course you would say
claim
that.
is that AI is going
Got
to
'em.
threaten a lot of jobs. Automation is going to threaten jobs that can't be replaced. The retort is that this is the lump of labor fallacy. We always find more work to do. And then the counter retort is that AI or general intelligence represents a type of like intellectual work or creative work or automated work that is actually going to be new compared to anything that's happened before. And then the counter is like, yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I don't know like I don't know enough facts to go into. Yeah.
Right. So the response to automation is that there will be new work.
Yeah.
Right. I think that ultimately the net loss of jobs will be greater than the jobs that are created. I think we have what you can call a corporate capitalism, right? We've depended on corporations for jobs, right? That's literally every single one of us like depends on a corporation, unless you're a small business owner, which, right? But I think that I would take the automation threat a bit more seriously because I would mention three major industries that might be affected, and these are three industries that hire a lot of people worldwide. It would be trucking, call center workers, and computer programmers.
Okay. Trucking. What was the second one?
Call center workers.
Call center. Oh, okay.
Call center workers and computer programmers. What are your thoughts on those being automated?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard these before. I think I've even mentioned, yeah, the trucker thing is supposedly really scary in the United States. There's a huge amount of, I don't think it's number one industry, but it might be. But it employs a ton of people.
Right.
And the threat of automated cars is supposedly really scary there. But thankfully, Elon is pushing that back every year. So hopefully we never.
Right. We have Waymos already here in LA, right? And
Sure.
in San Francisco, right?
They're not trucking though, but no, I know what you mean, yeah.
Right. So again, the trucking employs millions of Americans, mostly Republicans, mostly living in red states, right? Not college educated, high school diploma kind of thing. I think this is a bigger threat than people seem to realize. I think that when it comes to the trucking industry, not only do the truckers lose the job, but also the diners, the restaurants, the truck stops. I also think that the vision that Democrats are putting forth to address that is non-existent, right? Meaning that no candidate thus far has even remotely address this fact, right? That automation is a threat.
I feel like the situation is like right now so dire presently in terms of stuff being talked about and stuff that people care about. I think it's hard to even be forward facing. on the conservative side, like they say that every single problem was literally existential, and then on the Democratic side, it's starting to feel like every single problem, to some extent, or at least a lot of them are existential. So when you're in that like fight or flight mindset, it's hard to kind of like plan for the future, I guess.
Right. So it's like the scarcity mindset, right? It's
A little bit, yeah.
Right. So
I think there's like a broader way to talk about it, but nobody ever really addressed the conversation. But it has to do with like how do you leave, or how do you address workers that are left behind when your GDP is growing? It's like a broad way of saying it. Yes.
Well, that's the whole point of automation, is that we will be as productive as ever, even more so, because robots can do better jobs than humans, right?
But I feel like the thing that
Well, the thing is that like I feel like, okay, listen, I'm not an AI doomer person, okay? Like that's not in my nature. My nature is not like being an AI doomer person, but I think that there is obviously like we would be lying if we weren't admitting as well that there is a significant amount of I don't know, like there's I feel like there's not going to be enough regulations for AI misuse and for and for teaching people how to get other skills, right? For there to be in time for AI to be like bringing, like, basically I'm just saying there might be just more harm more harm coming out of AI because it's happening all so fast, right? It's happening so fast that there's going to be a lot of harm that are going to be happening in like the next few years, right? That laws and regulations and all that stuff is not going to have the ability to catch up to, right? For example, one thing I can think of is AI pornography of maybe your coworkers or something like that, disseminated into the public, okay? Here's my stance on this, and you can agree to disagree, it's fine, okay? Because I understand how people feel about the subject. If you're just creating AI pornography of your coworker or something, someone like a private citizen, but you're just using it for yourself, you're not disseminating it out into the world, I think that's fine. Just don't tell anybody about it, okay? Because the moment you tell anybody about it, that's obviously sexual harassment, right? But the thing is, it's like you wouldn't tell another person that you masturbate to somebody, right? Obviously not. Now the thing is, and the problem, I guess, is that if AI pornography starts getting disseminated, I guess, to the broader internet, and people start to mistake that for the actual you, and your reputation could get harmed by that, right? Obviously so. Then yeah, of course that's bad, right? Of course. Like I would not disagree with that. I would be delusional to disagree with that, right? Now there are other parts about AI, in my opinion, that are I guess could be bad, but it doesn't have to be bad. Like one thing I can think of is drones, right? Drone warfare. Like basically, if you don't know, Berkeley released out, like, basically a bunch of professors released like a fucking video called Slaughterbots, where the reality is that we could have a world where all the killing is done by these like B-sized drones that are basically homing bullets. That's what they are. They're just homing bullets, okay? That could be used as a weapon of mass destruction, deployed over a city. So then, which is far better than a nuclear bomb, right? Because if you kill everyone, right? If you kill everyone using drones, right? But you still keep the structure intact, that is obviously a good thing for the invading nation, right? You don't need to worry about radiation. You don't need to worry about destroyed like infrastructure, right? You keep everything intact. Everything is intact, right? And the kill drones, you know, they'll just kill everyone, you know? So all you have to do is do body cleanup. That's all you have to do, right? So I'm just saying, like, that is also like another concern of AI, right? Especially if AI becomes extremely good at like target recognition, right? Which I do suspect that this is definitely going to happen in the future. I do think so. Wasn't that a Love, Death, Robots or a Black Mirror episode? No, it's featured in a lot of different forms of media. Like people are mentioning the Black Mirror episode, you're mentioning the Love, Death, and Robots, but the official video released by like a coalition of professors that were warning about the danger of AI engineered as a weapon of mass destruction is like called Slaughterbots, right? That is the original video. But yeah, no, there's lots of like references to such a thing, okay? Because lots of people have like thought about it in their head, okay? But yeah, that's one of it. Another thing is the replacing of jobs in terms of service workers, right? Because over time, I have seen that at least in California, in my hometown, they have replaced the local McDonald's like service workers with touch screens. Okay, I'm not sure if like the amount of people that they hire went down, but I have to assume that it can't have went up, if that makes sense, right? Like I can't imagine that it goes up. I have to imagine that it goes down, unless maybe there's some like factor I'm not really seeing. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so the thing is that AI engineers are most likely eating really good, right? And you know what? Good for them. Okay, they work really hard for it. But the thing is people who are people who are I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. People who are like I guess lower skilled workers, right? Like they're going to be suffering the consequences for it. And I suspect that companies will be so fast to replace that to the point where, you know, whatever. You can argue that there is some kind of spiritual part that is lost, right? Because if you create AI art and you create AI videos, it's not the same as an actual person with their own vision and design, like creating something that represents some deeper meaning or some deeper message, right? So that's another thing that is lost, but I don't think that that can be regulated with law, right? I don't think that you can use law to regulate that. Yeah, there's a lot of things where it's like there's clearly dangers of for opening up like the technology for AI that is not just like wacky ideas, right? That I think are like relatively simple to imagine, right? Like for example, I'm not talking about the iRobot Isaac Asimov kind of like fucking AI uprising. I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about like very simple concepts that are probably going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years, right? But yeah, no, that's the way I imagine it. Okay. And McDonald's can also open up with more stores with more consoles. Sure, you're talking about people are unable to look at the downstream effects, right? Like it could be the case that because they're so successful that they can open up more stores, it can spread to more people, right? But who knows? I think that the thing is that you would have to prove that, right? Because the reality is that people are generally only able to recognize and analyze the immediate effects. And for good reason as well, right? You would have to create a connection from one study to another in order to create like a larger study that analyzes the entire chain in order to show that, oh yeah, AI could downstream lead to opening more McDonald's in the future and employ more people. You would need to show that because otherwise, right now, it is like very clear that at the very least, like AI is like replacing a lot of jobs. Yeah, it is what it is though. There has never been technological advancement in history that left a bunch of laborers in dust. I mean, are you sure about that? I don't know. Like the thing is that you say this, but I don't think nothing is as expansive as AI. I just don't think so. I just don't think anything is as expansive as AI, right? Because the thing is that I understand if like horse carriage pullers are like I understand if like horse carriage pullers are out of a job, some of them are out of a job and they transition into car drivers or some shit, right? I can understand that. I can also understand, you know, the advent of computers over several decades to the point where, you know, you eventually get what you're getting, right? And people have time to adapt, right? But AI just replaces so much. It's just replaced so much. Like there's just so many things that AI can replace, right? I don't know, with enough advancements, right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's just so many things, right? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah.
Assumption that we would live in this kind of like post-scarcity world. For some reason, I'm sure most economists probably account for this. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it feels like people don't account for the fact that consumer demand.
Well, Radiant,
seems
again,
to be
you say
infinite,
that,
like the
but-
appetite for a consumer
Radiant, again, you say that, but like, I'll love to see some data as well, right? Okay.
for more stuff is like always growing. So insofar as if there are 100 people that are sitting around that can
Ultimately, right now, it's speculation about downstream. Right now, the unemployment rate is still very low. It could change quickly / soon, but it's not currently a crisis by the available act. Again, I'm going to clarify, okay? I don't think AI is not even close of a crisis as like I want people to believe. A lot of people are very doomer about it. A lot of people are doomer about the advent of AI. Personally, okay, as somebody who has took at least one AI class in my undergraduate courses, and as somebody who, you know, Haha, a search. Haha, get it? A searching. I'm a searching for an answer here. Okay. But like the thing is, for people who get it, okay. But the thing is that as somebody who comes from comp sci, I know the realistic, kind of view of where AI is going. It's really not that much of a big deal. If anything, like for example, I'll actually present one thing that is really good, right? If anything else, and it's that it's that oof, doctors will likely have, like for example, like think of some kind of like small fucking medical drone hovering around and like administering things. A star, right? A star search, right? You're right. And like going around alerting other divisions, assisting a doctor rather than replacing a doctor, right? Like a little AI drone, like fucking like assisting a doctor, or like some AI, like just like technology that could help a doctor a lot, right? Monitoring progress, automatically controlling for anesthetics or something. I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that AI can do. Yeah, obviously the perfection, like the perfection, the margin for error in the field, such as medical related things, should be way, way less in comparison to a field such as, like, I don't know, service industry, right? Because obviously you don't want, like, even a 0.001% failure rate for AI in the medical field could result in a death, and you don't want that to happen, right? Yeah, you don't want that to happen. The thing is that, like, so generally, if you have two things working together, a doctor and an AI, I mean, you can guarantee like the best outcome, right? Obviously. But yeah, also people like seeing a doctor face to face. Okay, they don't want to see a cold dead robot, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. Imagine everything on Amazon had 1 day shipping because the backend AI was able to exactly predict the types of items you and other people in your city will buy and accurately reallocate stock. Right. Yes, that's the useful part of AI. No, I totally understand what you're talking about. That's the useful part of AI, right? Again, I am for AI, okay? But I'm just saying that there's a lot of parts where you have to watch out for, okay? Just maybe because technological progress does outstrip legislation, and that's a fact, right? Yeah, it is what it is.
Have everything provided by robots, somebody's going to want something that one of those 99 other people can provide, and then that's, for some reason, that's always rolled forward that way. Now, the
Don't worry,
claim
I know what you're talking
is that
about,
AI
okay?
is something that's going to represent a unique displacement of workers that won't be able to be compensated with just increased demand or lump of labor stuff. But I mean, that has yet to happen, and I mean, I guess we'll see. If it does, then damn.
I just view a failure in both Democrats and Republicans in terms of like offering a hopeful message for the future. And as my name implied, the UBI thing, there's only one candidate so far that has even remote.
By the way, if there's anybody who can defend AI the most, it probably should be me. Outside of any like direct AI engineers, right? Because the thing is that when I was working in my like little cybersecurity firm, like I was interning during my junior and senior years of college, one of the things that they were showing off to us was that a lot of their rule making programs. So in cybersecurity, okay, a rule is basically like some restriction or some kind of like what if scenario, right? It's like a else if. It's like a else if scenario where in the case something like this happens, then you need to do this to protect whatever thing from being hacked or from credentials being compromised. Okay, and they use AI in order to create new rules, right? So AI is able to keep up with malicious attacks. So then they are able to create new rules on the spot, and it is able to assist engineers in order to create new rules like quicker and faster than ever before, and to keep up with like the way that malicious hackers are like trying to adapt to like security programs and stuff. So yeah, that's super fucking cool. All right, but it's like yeah, it is just objectively cool. But like the thing is obviously I'm not like blind towards like I'm not trying to be Elon Musk about it, you know what I mean? Elon Musk is just like just straight up 100% full send AI pro, but
touched on this, and it's Andrew Yang, right? I'm pretty sure most of you guys know. People view him as a sort of this kind of
quack.
Weird kind of,
Yeah, a quack.
I don't know. I don't even know how people characterize him at this point, right? But he was the only one to
I'll give you
offer,
an
like,
example.
a pretty
Oh, no.
solid plan, right? So one of the things that he had was a universal basic income, which was $1,000 a month that every U.S. citizen over the age of 18 would qualify. I would argue that this policy is much better than what Kamala had to offer during her presidential run. And as well as he had a vision to fix the tax system in America, which you've touched on this before because I do watch your videos. He proposed a value-added tax system. And I think that there's many different versions of a value-added tax system, but I believe the best version is the UK's version, in which it's a 20% tax on all luxury items, non-essentials, right? There's, I believe, a 3 or 6% tax on semi-essentials. Think diapers, children's clothing, things of that nature. And then there's essentials are not taxed at all, meaning groceries like milk, eggs, rice, beans, fruits, and vegetables, right? I would also mention that the UK has a sugar tax, right? Because do you really want more people to succumb to diabetes and other diseases that would put a
No, Radiant, don't worry, okay? I know, okay? You don't have to convince me, okay? Trust me, I understand what you're talking about, okay? I've explained positive downstream effects and negative downstream effects before, okay? Like this stuff, like I totally dig it. You don't have to prove it to me, okay? Like I think it's entirely true, okay? Like it's possible that in some place that they are trying to, like, I don't know, like create new jobs and stuff like that. I'm not denying that, okay? But I'm saying, like, you can't, like, but are you denying the negative effects? Like, any potential negative effects? Like, do you think that there are any negative effects of AI at all? Right? Like, that would be my question to you, okay? Like, can you name several serious AI downsides, at least, to introducing it, right? No negative, yeah, there you go. So, see, this is the problem I have, okay?
would put a pressure on the
Oh,
healthcare system,
there you
right?
go.
So
All right.
I don't necessarily think that, I can't say this would be a bad tax structure for a kind of like quasi post-scarcity future, but the only issue is right now we're designing kind of like the perfect tax or societal fiscal structure for a reality that we're not quite at yet. So I think it's hard to,
I think the value-added tax system offers a lot of strengths even now if it were to apply.
I'm not
right
going to
now.
disagree on that. It'll never happen because Americans, well, actually, I guess that's not true. It would only happen if Trump did it, because apparently that's the only way conservatives will accept new taxes. But I think most economists, I think everybody is generally in favor of a type of value-added tax because it gives the federal government the ability to have a federal sales tax. But I would never, I don't think I would oppose it. I would support that, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, in the US.
Well, I think all of these conversations that I've heard so far, I mean, that you have, and
Dude, my
I really
mouth is
applaud you
so
for what you do,
dry.
right,
Okay, no
to put
wonder.
yourself out there talking.
Bro, I bet I sounded so fucking dehydrated the entire time. Like, cause I was like, dude, I feel like I have to, dude. I was like so fucking dehydrated. Jesus Christ.
To the
Oh my
right.
God.
I just think it's just so divisive. It doesn't really offer a unifying message. There's a vision of a universal basic income that has to do with kind of reeling it all back in and offering an actual vision to actually fixing this country's problems. So when it comes to UBI, right, it's if you pair it with a value-added tax, right? If you give $1,000 a month to a single mom or a family or someone that's just struggling to survive, they're gonna get the $1,000 a month. It's gonna subsidize their wage. If they use that money to buy the groceries that they have to buy these things, right? They have to buy their everyday staples, right? Well, those things won't be taxed at all. So you're basically giving these people the most help you can give them, right? Once they run out of $1,000 a month, then they still have to be productive members of society, and they still have to find a job to cover for whatever else they have as expenses. So in terms of progressiveness, I think this is the most progressive tax you can have. Also, a value-added tax, and I've heard you talk about a wealth tax and how inefficient it is. I think a value-added tax is way better at taxing rich people, right? Because it targets their consumption, right? So when it comes to VAT, a uniform VAT of 10%, right? A 10% VAT on, let's say your TV breaks. You got to buy a new HDTV. $500, all right. How much is the 10% VAT on that? Well, it's $50. All right, so you're going to spend $550 now, right? But as you go into the higher levels of society, what's a 10% tax on a $20,000 Rolex watch, or a $100,000 sports car, or $1 million yacht, right? So you're going to target rich people's consumption choices. So that you have a better system than, and again,
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I feel like we're designing optimal tax strategies for a country. There's absolutely not, we can't even agree on progressive income taxes in terms of higher taxes for wealthy people. We just had these whole Trump tax cuts that are absolutely obliterating our budget that have now been solidified after the one big beautiful bill. So the idea of trying to
By the way, potential AI disagreements, I can totally fucking see, my voice is so much clearer now. Potential AI disagreements is something I could totally disagree with another person who is a Democrat, okay? I'm sorry, but one part that is not a reconcilable difference to me is the function of our democracy, right? Is the double standards on what to do with our country and with Trump, right? Because the thing is this is something we can agree to disagree on, okay? But what we can't agree to disagree on is whether or not Trump is running for a fucking third term, right? I can disagree with Radiant on AI, okay? And I'm okay with that, perfectly okay with that, okay? Because we still think that Trump is going to ruin this country at this rate, right? I'm sorry, but anything else is like I just think the democracy part is the most important part in my opinion. Like the democracy part is like you have to agree. You just have to agree that not Destiny is running this country. Fuck me. That Trump is running this country, right? That he's the one breaking all the norms and rules and shit, right? Yeah, you have to agree with that part. At the very least for me. Yeah.
Talk about like a progressive value-added tax structure.
Refunding my
I think
sub.
these are interesting conversations, but it's like a land value
Wow.
tax that all the Georgian people like to talk about
wow.
too. Like
That's your
it just feels
choice.
like we're so far away from even having. We don't even agree on what the problems are when it comes to taxes in the U.S.
I mean, one of the reasons why I put myself out here like this too is because I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of people about this, Republicans included. I drive
It's just
for,
precedent,
I'm an
sure.
Uber driver here in SoCal, so that means I end up in Orange County, right? And I've talked to Republicans about this, and I am able to have the most productive, healthy conversations with them if I stick to just this topic. And a value-added tax is actually pretty popular amongst them, right? It's pretty straightforward, right? You're taxing luxury, you're taxing people's consumption. Yang also proposed
pay
that
the
if you're going to
difference?
raise this 10% value-added
Pays.
tax, you're also going to lower the federal income taxes by a similar percentage. You're not gonna put in an extra
Like
tax
revenue
on
generating
people,
things
right?
without also giving some kind of alleviation, right?
Right,
Yeah.
you're alleviating it from the income tax system and then just having this luxury
I
tax
refund
system,
better
right?
donut
So
now. What?
what
You
better
did?
way than to tax your people?
Why?
First of all, why are you taxing people based off of their labor? Like,
What?
don't you want more of that,
Okay.
right? Like it's the income tax system is one of the most unfair tax systems in the world. I used to work at a UPS warehouse
Proof.
where people are working back-breaking labor, like during COVID, like working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and then they go home and then they get their paycheck and it's like 30% tax. Like that's super unfair. I believe that's one of the reasons why Trump won. Trump won this time around because he won over the middle class, right? He won over the middle class because the argument that you'll hear a lot is,
I mean, you can
it's
credit
not
card
fair that I'm
chargeback.
getting taxed more and I'm working my ass off, and then my money is going to someone that
this
doesn't
guy.
work as hard as I do,
This guy
right?
sucks.
So to me,
Ugh,
and
I
I
hate
kind
this
of agree
game.
with that, again, because I've
Game
worked at
sucks.
this very hard back-breaking job, and I saw this, right?
I mean, like I understand what you're saying. As somebody that is rich and somebody that was poor, something I say a lot is I hate the middle class. I've always hated the middle class.
Right.
The idea that somebody in the middle class doesn't want to pay more in taxes because they don't want their money going to like a working class person. I feel like one thing that I wish would happen in the United States is I feel like we like radically need to change the way that we approach talking about taxes. Like conservatives talk about them like they have to be avoided at all costs, and when I hear people on the left talk about them, they talk about them like a punishment, right? But like something I've said, like I get to sit in front of a computer or in front of an audience.
Hey, this is a great demonstration of downstream effects being made into play, by the way. Like, for example, taxes is a great example of like the dissonance that you feel when you do not see like the downstream effects, right? Because the direct effect is that everyone has to pay massive taxes in California, right? The definition of like the huge, massive taxes in California, right? However, what you don't see is a lot of people who use Medi-Cal, right? Who use Californian healthcare, right? You're paying to keep other people alive, right? So for you to live a slightly less comfortable life, right? The state has decided it was worth it to make a trade-off, right? So then they would have more money going into Medi-Cal, right? Or going into other programs, right? That they need. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure California fucking sucks at knowing where to allocate money. So potentially a lot of money is being wasted. But there is still a lot of positive downstream effects, all right, of the high tax rate in California. And for good reason, okay? Yeah.
And I get to fly around airplanes, I get to do all this stuff. They would only work that way if there were a whole group of people that were also willing to do other types of work that I personally don't want to have to do. And the idea that, like, for me to exist at like the incredibly heightened experience I get to have in this country means that I have to pay some chunk of my income so that other people can live, outside of destitute poverty. Like that shouldn't even be like a regret.
And by the way, you should be patriotic about stuff like this. Like, in my opinion, you should be patriotic about the fact that, hey, I am paying my income tax. I am paying taxes. I am paying what I could to help other people in this country. That you shouldn't feel negative about it. I mean, maybe you should feel negative about it if maybe you're becoming broke in some way, I guess. But I really doubt that happens, mainly because taxes are typically used in a way where it's like, is it like progressive or is it regressive income tax here? I'm pretty sure it's progressive income tax. Like, the more money you earn, the more about that tax bracket that you're paying to the state, because it's money that you typically do not need for living, right? It's money that is reallocated typically for luxury for yourself, right? Like, for example, maybe that one extra vacation on a cruise, you don't need that, right? That could have been going to some other family, right? Two other families that need to have their diabetes being treated, right? Two other families that need like open heart transplant surgery, right? You don't need that extra fucking cruise vacation, right? But you know, people don't see it that way. People don't see the downstream effects of something, right? Yeah. But hey, what do you know? What do you see? I don't see anything. Okay, sorry.
That should be like a celebrated thing. And even
Maximize your tax-free income. Right. Okay. Everyone should just Google and see how to do a Roth IRA. Okay. Just listen. If you're planning to just see if you can retire early. Yeah. Who knows? Okay. Roth IRA, investing in very stable, queries. Right. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Are we doing socialism now? I mean, a little bit of socialism never really hurt anyone. Okay. I'm just saying.
if people don't like intuitive, or even if people don't
And you get
intellectually understand it,
notification?
intuitively
Oh,
they do.
oh.
Because, you know, if somebody was making some
I
amount of money
released too
online,
many
you could just
videos
tell them,
today,
hey,
that's probably
there's
why.
like a whole bunch of crazy countries that you could move to and live in the wilderness and you'd be so
By the
fucking
time you're
rich. It's like,
60.
well, I don't wanna
Yeah,
fucking
but
live
every-
there, right? Well, of course you don't.
Yeah, yes, I know Roth IRA is not tax-free until you take it out at the time you're 60. However, I will have to say, okay, that at least for Roth IRA, 60 years old, dude, that's nothing these days. Have you seen how long people live these days? It's actually crazy how long people live these days, okay? Living to 60, no fucking issue, okay? Unless you get like, I don't know, maybe you're not eating well in your mid 50s, right? It becomes way harder to maintain your health when you're aging, right? But yeah, typically fucking everybody lives to 60 these days. You know what I mean? And well beyond that, if anything else. So yeah.
Part of the reason why you don't want to live there is because you don't have like a whole society that is like moving everybody forward from top to bottom. Yeah.
So
All right, you get the last word there, Mr. UBI.
okay, so I'm gonna try to cover this as fast as I can because this is there's so much ground to cover when it comes to
Oh yeah,
universal basic
do
income.
401k.
Okay.
Obviously,
I think the vision
yes.
that a UBI can do for us
But, you know,
is
that's
to
like
also
obvious stuff,
offer
right?
a way to adapt to a changing economy. I mentioned that trucker, if he loses his job, he's not going to live in an expensive city like LA or San Francisco or New York, right? $1,000 a month there isn't really going to do much for that trucker, right? We're paying $2,000 a month in rent here in LA, right? But if that, most likely that trucker is going to live in a small town, he loses his job tomorrow. He receives $1,000 a month, right? That money can help that individual and his small town to basically invest in their economy so that you can see a resurgence of small businesses and self-employment endeavors, right? So again, the vision of a UBI, that like what it can do for us, it's very complex. There's a lot of ground to cover. There's so much in terms of how you could even call it a left-leaning libertarian idea in which instead of the wastefulness that government can do, I mean, we've already seen it in terms of the homeless industrial complex that's happening here in California. Tens of billions of dollars have been spent on trying to tackle homelessness. Has anyone seen an improvement? No, because it's there's so much wastefulness and inefficiencies of government, right? Whereas a UBI it's a left-leaning libertarian idea because you're reducing government bloat and waste, right? And instead you're putting that money straight into people's pockets. You're going to save money in the long run on many different levels. Again, there's so much ground to cover. I can talk about healthcare. I can talk about the prison system. I can talk about like. How this offers a better vision for America, going down in terms of jobs and automation and all that. But I do, it really kind of, seeing these kind of conversations happening where neither, like you guys are just arguing, like it's just two sides arguing on some of the dumbest fucking positions ever, and no one is really actually thinking critically to move forward, to move this country forward. It kind of makes me sad because it's like, what the fuck are we doing, guys, right? And like I said,
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, like, you also,
Well, the problem is that you're trying to, like, you know how to, okay, how you move the country forward is also a question of, like, how do you prevent the current president of the United States from ripping apart the fabric of our democracy, right? I think that's the same problem, because the only way you can move the country forward is by defeating the people who want to move the country back, right? It's the only way. Because when you have extremely powerful people who want to bring the country back, you need to defeat them first, okay? I mean, obviously, you guys already know about that. But, like, the thing is that that's just the truth, okay? It is what it is, all right? I mean, I would love to talk about that. I really do think so, okay? Like, for example, there are lots of cool shit that we should bring back, right? going to the moon, space travel, NASA, right? Like that shit is cool as fuck. To me, at the very least, that is moving the country forward, right? That is what I define as moving the country forward. I want to see that shit come back. I want to see shit like NASA, fucking space race related shit come back. I'm a big fucking like because I'm like a semi-space nerd, right? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter, but whatever. Okay. And because I don't know, I want to see cool science being brought back. But you can't have that happen when SpaceX is around. I mean, SpaceX is fine. Okay, SpaceX is actually whatever. That is like the American dream technically. But like that can't happen when we have like defunding college research shit, right? We just can't have that. I'm sorry, but we can't have that. We can't have constant like college defunds by fascist authoritarian dickbags, right? There is no moving forward while that is happening. You can't move forward while like the fucking authoritarian douchebag is there, right? Or any authoritarian douchebag who wants to bring the country back, who runs on bringing the country back, right? Yeah. And I think that Elon Musk's goals are like less than noble, even if he is constantly talking about moving the country forward, right? It's not the same. It's not the same as NASA, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's just not the same.
Kind of have to meet people where they are. Like the UBI argument can be the best argument in the world, but if I show the right group of conservatives a picture of a bunch of brown and black people getting it, they're going to be immediately opposed and they're going to call them all lazy. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're
that's the beauty about
yeah.
the universality of it, right? But Yang also had a really good. He actually had traction with Republicans during that 2020 election cycle, right? So he was able to offer a vision that Democrats didn't offer, right? So again, this is we're all just kind of like just going in circles with some of the dumbest things I've ever heard, and it's all brain rot kind of topics, right? And I get it. It's amazing. It's really cool to have you on the left side to like defend a lot of these positions, but I still think it's not enough. It's still not enough, and Democrats have failed us just as much as the Republicans. I mean, I'm not even gonna fucking mention Republicans, but Democrats are failing us, and I'm trying to learn from those failures, and I'm trying to like offer a different alternative vision.
All right,
So,
thank you, Mr. UBI.
Classic Cali audience, sure, but you have to keep in mind, like, yeah, I know, like these people frustrate me. I will say that like my fellow Californians frustrate me as much as I love them. Okay, I think that they have the right soul and heart for such issues. As somebody who is a hardcore Californian right here, okay, I think that like I just don't think that the issue of like Trump is emphasized enough. And I think part of that is also due to the fact that you live in California, which is a very, very separate environment, in my opinion, like culturally wise, from Donald Trump, right? Like maybe now Donald Trump is like trying to crack down on like California related like bullshit or like other things that he doesn't like about California. But California has always been kind of a nation of its own. California has always been a nation of its own, right? Like California is a kingdom, right? It's its own fucking kingdom. It's like a whole fucking country of its own, right? So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. Could you rate Elon out of 10 food shops? I'll rate him at 1, a solid 1. Okay.
Rock and roll.
Really?
You had a good run. All right, we're going.
California alone has the 4th largest economy in the world. It beat Japan. California alone. I'm not talking about any other state. It's just California, right? California alone beat Japan as the 4th largest economy in the world. One state. One. Okay? One state. It's not even close. California is a citadel, okay? California itself is a glorious beacon of light in the world, okay? The very embodiment of the American dream, in my opinion. Okay? Like the entire state. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's as American as it can be. Accepting of immigrants, welfare programs, safety nets, taxing people a lot, right? Enterprising businesses who have the latest inventions in AI, have the latest inventions. Can I have 5 minutes to sort my? I'm so sorry. Next time, okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like the latest inventions in AI, the latest like technological like fucking developments. Enterprising young men willing to work and shit. Like I'm sorry. Like California is just, it's beautiful. Okay, yeah. But I think that Republican slander, I think that Republican and conservative propaganda has worked, unfortunately, in slandering California. Like the way that I kind of look at it is that like conservatives have completely like turned, like, I don't know, has really distributed like anti-California sentiments and propaganda. But that's propaganda, right? And the whole world fell for it. Everyone jokes about how bad California is. But the truth is that California is a beacon. It's a beacon of light, of the American dream. Yeah.
Into our next debater right away. Oh, just a quick reminder, Stephen will be signing posters. You can get a free poster after and a picture with Stephen once we are done with our debaters tonight, so don't go away once we conclude. Callie Chan, you're up next. Put your hands together for Callie Chan. She's coming straight from the back of the house, so keep that round of applause going. Stretch those arms, clap them together. Callie Chan, here she comes. Rock and roll. Woohoo!
I just want to preface that I am definitely not a political whiz here.
That's fine. Speak right in the mic and then you're good. You can do whatever you want to be. Okay.
And not only that, I unfortunately work in defense, so I'm very conflicted about what's going on right now, and don't want to be doxxed, so here we go.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right, so if facts matter, how do we wake people up who've been emotionally checked out of politics? I noticed that a lot of people, especially in California, they act like they're above politics. They want to play kumbaya, saying both sides, whatever, like both sides are wrong, you know, or they don't have the emotional energy to give a shit anymore, and they don't want to be that draining moral superiority, like virtue signaling downer. And do you think political apathy is a form of privilege or burnout?
I need a better answer for this. I feel like one of the issues that we have, you asked, is political apathy a privilege or burnout? I mean, it can be either or. I mean, it really depends on what issue we're talking about, and it depends on, you know, what, it depends on what we're talking about, right? So like all of us, well, most of us are politically privileged to not really care. I'm being a bit facetious about what goes on like between Ukraine, Russia, or Israel, Palestine, because these are foreign conflicts, so they don't affect us here. Some people in the US have the privilege not to care about, you know, like women's rights or stuff related to SNAP or WIC or, you know, welfare programs or stuff related to taxes. Like it really depends. Like to some extent, like a lot of us are.
Wait, hold on real quick. Is it actually true that DGG is like 99% male? Is that actually true? Can anybody confirm?
Privilege in some ways, we don't really
Like, does anybody have a screenshot?
have to care. Other people are, you know, are really bought into it because it literally affects them or their communities. I think that on the left, I feel like one of the issues, it kind of came up earlier when the guy was up here, is it doesn't feel like we have like a coherent political project to fight for. Whereas on the right, they always have like, there's like a new enemy or a new deep state or a new, you know, thing from the future or the past or whatever. They always have like a thing that they're always like ends with, you know, a new trans bus driver or whatever. There's always like an enemy that they can be upset about. And that type of anger seems to sustain people for a long time. It seems to keep people going in a direction for a long time. I'm not saying we necessarily need to do that, but I do think that the left as a whole,
it went down.
Please God, excuse me. The Democratic establishment as a whole needs to kind of have a more coherent, like war game plan to put forth.
Do you have
to
any
the people so that
screenshots
they feel
of
like
that
they're invested or involved in something? I think people like to see, to some extent, like the fruits of their labor. And when you don't have anything that you're ever fighting for, it's hard to keep track of anything. Like I said, like I was excited when Gavin Newsom talked about the redistricting. That's like a real thing that there's going to be a real vote on, and it's going to have a real impact on the districting in California. And I think it's awesome. It's the thing you can see, well, at least on a map. I think it might have been Steve Bannon that said this, or somebody else. I kind of believe this. I think that maybe we need to like build stuff that's like big and noticeable again, like bridges or not trains, because these take fucking forever apparently for you guys. But anything that like you can build and see, I think people like that. As gaudy and disgusting as it is, like, you know, conservatives look at all the Trump gold and everything in the Oval Office, and they're like, oh, it's awesome. Or like the whatever the
definitely
Trump,
sounds
grandma
trans.
patio that he has like out and back where the Rose Garden used to be, like stuff that you can
Like, I have nothing against any specific DGGers, okay? But the moment I see the name Aerith, dude, come on. What cis girl has a screen name like Aerith, okay? Yeah. Pickles Nathan? I don't know. I mean, that's like Nate. then, right? That's a trans girl named Nathan? What?
Visual-
Whatever happened to Ziana? I don't know. She's gone from the space. Who the fuck knows?
really see, I think is nice for people. But yeah, I think to go back, you're asking like it's a very like it's a very involved question. Like, what gives people the drive to be involved in politics and to move something forward? And I think it's feeling like you're part of like a political project that has some kind of forward momentum that's making some kind of
Why
difference,
is this
actually
not
doing
working?
something. Yeah, but like how you do that, there's like so many
Sound pretty
different factors
female?
at play.
Oh, okay.
Like I can talk about this forever. But like Obama was like an inspiring person. People
It's
liked
a
him, like, when he spoke, he felt cool
transvestigation.
when he got elected. It was like, oh, cool, this is awesome. It was a fun thing.
Bro, Foodshops Transvestigation Court would go so hard as content, but it would be so fucking inappropriate. But it would go so hard. The content would go so hard, wouldn't it? Like, it's just me, like, putting, like, audio clips into Audacity and analyzing the little spikes, and I'm like, I can tell this is voice trained voice. I can tell that this is not like a natural sounding, like, oh my, it would be so inappropriate, but it would be so peak, okay?
People, I think I would say like Gavin Newsom making fun of Trump on Twitter. That's a highlight of my life, is seeing new tweets from him or his press office or whatever. Like, it's just fun. It's something to
Hello, Foodshops. I enjoyed listening to your piano performance today. You are very talented. What? What? What piano performance? When? I didn't do that. What are you talking about? Huh?
be like culturally involved in, and then having media that you can watch that's like fun or exciting. Like growing up as a conservative, like listening to Michael Savage roasting the commies was really fun, and all of the entertainment and excitement. I could listen to Alex Jones.
It's
I got
good
all these
content.
lyrics. I'm not
No,
saying it need
it's
to be that
that's
bad, but yeah,
inappropriate.
there has to be like I'm reiterating myself for the third time. There has to be like
Played
a comprehensive
piano earlier
project that
today?
everybody's working on.
What?
It always has some kind of forward momentum. But that's like a thing that involves a lot of moving pieces. Yeah. Great.
I like that you say that because there are a lot of things that I thought, okay, this is the point where we're gonna actually start caring, like Roe versus Wade or all the different rights getting rolled back. But like people are on to the next thing, people are on to the next like talking point, people are on to the next show. The more distractions there are, the less we care. So like I think just an overwhelm of different things to care about, and people are starting to get burnt out.
I think that one of the issues is when we find a topic to care about, we don't have like a clear path to success, and I think that leads to people getting discouraged really quickly. Again, I'm not saying we should go in this direction, but if you look at like the trend of literally everything today, it's like gamification to give you these like little steady rewards as you build towards something. Well, if somebody tells you, okay, well Roe v. Wade is gone, well what are we going to do?
God,
Well,
I
we're
feel
going to try to
called
win an
out.
election so that the next president hopefully gets to install one more Supreme Court justice, so that maybe there's like a groundbreaking case that's brought through the courts, and maybe with like a 5-4 conservative court, we might be able to get a favorable ruling that maybe will bring about like Jesus, like how? But what the fuck? Who cares? We don't even know we'll have a Supreme Court by then, right? Like it's just fucking. It's like so far out. Meanwhile, like Trump is promising to bomb countries tomorrow, right? Like that sounds like a way more exciting project. Like I want to be the guy that's watching Greenland explode rather than the guy who's like looking forward to the another Supreme Court justice 27 years from now. Now, like I think. Like I'll credit Biden with being politically effective because he did get stuff done, but it didn't feel like it. You didn't have that feeling. I joked about this initially as I would like to consider myself somewhat politically mature. That I would joke with Dan and say,
thanks for the
well, it's nice
screenshot.
that it's kind of boring now under Biden because we have like a real country with a real guy who's really doing things. But I think a lot of people like kind of the excitement and they like to see like the cool stuff. And the Republicans are just so far ahead of us on that.
I mean, yeah, that's why they voted for a person who was good with TV rather than actual politics. So,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, on to the next questions. How do you de-radicalize someone who's deep in the MAGA pipeline without sounding condescending at this point?
I don't think there is no like you can't like de-radicalize people. I think in like any kind of short guide.
No.
It's kind of funny. I think I've drawn this comparison before, but like a really good example, or two good examples, I think, these are issues that have been dealt with forever. Is you have people who are addicted to drugs, or who might be like kind of crazy, like experiencing psychotic mental illness, or people who are lost in like abusive relationships. These are issues that have happened for a long time. Psychologists, therapists, everybody's like studied. And
Chat was
as far as I'm
like a
aware,
doctor.
there's
Oh.
not really much you can do for these people except kind of be there for them. Like if you know somebody who's addicted to drugs, somebody stuck in an abusive relationship, if you try to coach them out of it at all, they immediately paint you as an enemy. They get deeper into the other thing. They stop communicating with you, and now you've lost all contact. But it's hard to be friendly with them because you don't want to be like encouraging of like bad habits, but it feels weird not to say something. The problem is once somebody's an adult, they truly are left to make their own choices. I would say that if you have a friend in your life and you feel like they're down a certain rabbit hole, you talk to them as much as you can, but it's going to be kind of obvious if you're trying to like argue them out of a particular point. Like they're going to pick up on that. It's not like you can go here as like a therapist and try to talk a friend down from something. So also keep in mind too, like don't
You ready? I mean, it sucks. It sucks that like it sucks to say, okay, but like in case it wasn't obvious, the best way to try to get someone to change their mind, obviously, is to go, hey, like this person wants to talk about politics, and you say, I know where you're coming from, but I'm sorry, I don't agree with you. Here's like some sources of why I disagree with you. But we can agree to disagree. It's okay, right? And then maybe the next time they come back, they're like, oh yeah, so I actually searched up what you were talking about, and it turns out that you were actually correct, right? Like that is the best case scenario, right? You can't just yell at a person. Like, I'm sorry, but yelling at a person or like being condescending. I'm talking about in private, okay? I'm talking about in private, not on a debate stage, not on a. You're talking to a friend, right? Yeah, you kind of do have to handle them with kids gloves because they're a friend, right? I mean, you don't want to be abusive towards a friend, right? Obviously. So that is the best way to talk to a friend about it, I guess, if your friend is like MAGA. But at the end of the day, the only way they're going to change is if they put in the effort to. What are we talking about? Sorry. We're talking about how to de-radicalize MAGA. Yeah.
Feel bad. Like you're up against
What about on the debate stage? Oh, go full send. If it's a debate stage and you're in front of an audience, yeah, go full send. You need to embarrass them.
an impossible machine.
Yeah, fuck
like,
that.
I think I made this joke on stream a lot, and like I've had multiple friends that
Destroy
I've lost
them.
who it starts with the innocent. Like, so I saw this guy on Candace Owens, and he was making a lot of sense, and I'm like, fuck. Like in 6 months, this person's gonna be fucking crazy. And it's happened like 3 times, and nothing that I say or do, no amount of argument or no amount of like logical refutation matters, because by the time I spent 1 week going over with some fucking guy who believes in the ether, they've got like 6 other shows that they're ready to give me. I was like, okay, well, like something is clicking in your brain here that I can't communicate with and I can't do anything about. So yeah, it's what I said for the first thing. It's like this whole interconnected, moving, puzzle.
Paintburn needs to get a damn mobile lighting kit, a few reflectors and lights, but at the very least a camera that has a good ISO. You can have a great message, but if your aesthetics aren't there, people will pass and you won't get eyes on you. As much as his views were dog shit, Charlie Kirk's AV setup were always on point even early on. Yeah, you should pass this up to Destiny. And I think you're completely correct. I fully agree with you. Yeah, I fully agree with you. Yeah. Also, by the way, if you're talking like interpersonally, obviously one approach that works is to try to appeal to something they care about specifically. Okay? Like for example, if a parent has kids, you should go to the kids' talking points. If the person you're talking to is like cares about, I don't know, taxes. I mean, you go to different talking points, right? Or they care about the debt, then you talk about a different point. So you kind of want to cater your dialogue to someone, to something that they care about. If you talk about your own things, that's fine, but just know that they have to understand what you're talking about, right? Like if you're going to talk about your own kids, but they don't have any kids, they're not going to care too much about that. I'm going to be totally real with you. Yeah, I don't know. Like not too much at the very least. But yeah. But if you're talking to like a crowd, yeah, I wouldn't use kids gloves. Fuck that shit. I wouldn't use kids gloves, okay? Get out the best fucking camera, get out the best fucking lighting, because I'm about to beef head to head with that fucking crowd, post it all over YouTube, and convince more people on the internet that MAGA is a bunch of cringe fucking losers, okay? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Right?
So that there's a lot of different pieces that have to work
Have a better chance?
to make things work better. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Right,
send it
you
to
get
him.
the last
Why
word
not?
there, Callie.
Okay, let's see. Alrighty, one more thing.
May I ask, is there anything Trump related that you disagree with Stephen
Oh.
on?
Okay, does obsessing over Trump keep him culturally immortal?
This is a really hard one. There's a really hard line to walk between like obsessing over Trump versus normalizing Trump. One thing that I found, especially with my own political enemies, whose heads I occupy 24/7 rent-free, is the easiest way they can kind of like brush off criticism of them is to call other people obsessed. So if I talk negatively about a particular thing and they don't want to deal with the criticism, they say, oh, that guy's obsessed with me, and then you're done with it. MAGA like formalized this with the whole
Okay,
Trump
there, I
management
passed it
syndrome.
on.
Like,
Now Steven is going to block me, and it's all going to be your fault.
oh, don't you think it's kind of crazy when Trump does this? And it's like, I think it's kind of crazy how fucking TDS you are. And it's like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess. So, like, I think the important thing is to keep the criticisms, like, measured. Like, when Trump does a really bad thing, I think you have to call it out. There should be people calling it out. But, like, not every single stupid thing, obviously. So, making sure the criticism is accurate, making sure it's measured, the magnitude of your response is appropriate. Yeah, and maybe not calling out necessarily every single little thing. But, like, we're in an era now where, like, every other day there's, like, shit happening that is just unbelievably insane to me. And to not have anybody calling it out, yeah, is not good. And when you've been like so recessed on it for so long, to start to step up and call it out, people are going to see that tonal shift. And they're like, oh my God, you became deranged. What happened? It's like, well, no, I just fucking started opening my mouth on this. Yeah. So there has to be some balance there. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Give it up for Callie. She had a really good run here. Rock and roll. All right. Well, I think this next debater is going to bring the heat. Put your hands together for Baron. Baron, let's go.
Baron Trump?
Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. So I think that for the past 10 years, I would say the Democratic Party has done a terrible job at messaging. I think the Republicans have done a much better job, probably ever since Obama.
Speak into the mic.
Speaking of that, yeah.
And
You
I would
pulled down a
also
little bit
say,
into it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
And then I would also say
God.
that since then, one of the examples of such is probably immigration in the United States. I think that's been a big issue for many people, for many voters for a very long time now. And I think the Democrats really dropped the ball and they ignored that. While Trump, his execution has been very poor, at least he's speaking to what people have been voting for.
I think that when we talk about poor democratic messaging, I think one of the big problems is Republicans started to play the game of politics a little bit differently in ways that I would argue are immoral, and Democrats haven't kept up on either regulating the environment or playing equally back. I think it's really difficult to contend with I trigger people when I say this, but to contend with certain problems that are, in my opinion, somewhat fictitious or sometimes largely fictitious, like to figure out what the appropriate response to that is can be very challenging. I do not believe, for instance, that the majority of conservatives in the United States have had all of these horrible experiences with like trans rapists in bathrooms, but for some reason trans people still dominate so much of our conversation. When it comes to immigration in particular, I think it's challenging because the actual answers they're really complicated. For instance, what does our immigration system even need to look like? That's something that nobody even talks about, and I seriously doubt we could even come together and agree on what that means. What does it mean to say we have certain immigration problems, right? When there's a Democrat in office, apparently there's like a new fucking caravan like every 2 days at our border that's about to destroy the country. But then as soon as Trump is in office, I'm not hearing anybody complain about what was supposedly like the #1 issue in the U.S. And every time Trump talks about it, there was still like apparently 25 million illegals that got in. Like I don't know if they all just got bored and stopped destroying the country, or they ran out of dogs to eat, or so it's hard. Like if somebody throws up a problem like that, and you don't even know how to deal with it because it doesn't even seem to be like as real as they're making it out to be, and then they run on that and they don't really do much to deal with it, but then everybody feels like they get credit for solving it. Like, yeah, that's a difficult thing. I do agree that Democrats definitely need to message better on it. But yeah, man, it's a hard one. Like, where do you even start on that? Yeah.
Well, right. So I would say it's a failure of leadership if we all recognize that we are playing the same game, yet the two sides are using different rules to play that game, right?
Just nice and close to the mic. Thank you.
sorry.
You can go right on that thing.
So we don't have, people on the left don't have the luxury
Jesus.
to be disingenuous with their positions as Republicans do. We all know that, yet they're not putting that forth and deciding on how to best utilize that. So I would say not only are Republicans better at taking their messaging and making it more digestible, breaking it down to 2 or 3 sentences that are really easy to connect with people, they're also better at follow through, or I would say not necessarily they're better at follow through, the Democrats are worse at follow through because we hold our leaders accountable, while they're able to again, misinform their voter base, and people will just eat it up. And when we talk about where we can agree on what immigration should look like, I would say, as far as I'm concerned, I would say immigration is great, and we should allow as many immigrants as possible, as long as it still provides a net positive benefit to the United States. And I think most people would agree with that.
I don't, unfortunately. I think I would largely agree with that, depending on some things around the edges. But so, like for instance, one thing I noticed when I listen to conservatives talk about immigration is like one of the biggest kind of things you can listen for when you can tell somebody has particular views on immigration is people are very quick to talk about immigrants, illegal immigrants, and asylum seekers all interchangeably. They use all these interchangeably. MAGA does this all the time. And sometimes through these conversations, we want to have like a discussion on what kind of class of immigrants should we let in? Does temporary protected status, should the executive be able to do this? What do you do with DACA? But sometimes it's better to just go back. I think Adam Mockler, just eviscerated Knowles on this. When I think he asked him a question about like asylum
Who
seekers.
is Adam
If you
Mockler?
ask Republicans, do you think people should be able to seek asylum in the United States? I think a lot of them would have a difficult time even saying yes to that. So when we realize like how far back we are in the conversation, like, okay, hold on, you don't even think people should be able to do this. Then it's like, do you think that people should be able to immigrate to the United States if they're willing to work? And it's like, what if it was like 500,000 Mexicans? It's like, oh, well, I don't know. And so it's like one thing that, so then you have to take another step back. It's like, okay, what do you actually care about when it comes to immigration? Like, do you want there to be any immigration? Because you can catch people like so easily. Like I had one guy saying like, well, I just don't like the demographic change from, people of color because they vote a different way. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, do you think that European immigrants are voting fucking conservative in the United States? And they're like, well, no, I guess not. And it's like, okay, so this is clearly not an issue, right? So part of the trouble, I think, of even having the conversation, I think to some extent does speak to a Democratic failure in having a strong position. Again, it wasn't until Biden kind of got pushed really hard by conservatives to really come to the border to make like kind of, an idea about it. And then it was Lankford's Republican authored immigration bill that was eventually kind of pushed before Congress to be voted on. And then it was the Republicans that ended up shooting it down. And so like the Republicans like have the chain the entire time. They're like leading us around in terms of like how we talk about it. So sorry, that sounds really hopeless. I agree that there's kind of been a failure in Democratic messaging, but I think that
Adams and Mize such
it's unsatisfying. The Republicans just fucked up so much shit that it's hard to even understand how to exist in the environment. Like let's say that like if we're both running for student president and in the last election cycle one guy was like, I'm going to make it so they can't assign more than 3 hours of homework a night, and you're saying okay, well I'm going to make it so we don't start school until 8:30 instead of 8:15, and then in the next election cycle one guy is like, I'm going to give all of you $10,000. Like geez, I don't know what to say to this guy, and then he wins the election and he doesn't do what people so for anyway. It's like, well fuck me, I guess, right? So I don't know how Democrats are supposed to exist in an environment where, I mean, I bring this up all the time, no one knows, cares, whatever about it. It's like the Dominion stuff with Fox News is insane. That should have ended that entire news network, and every person involved I think should have been criminally indicted. At the very least should have all suffered huge civil liability, and that network should be gone. But like it's continued on as the largest news network ever. So like from a conservative viewpoint, they should continue to lie and do what they were doing because they're constantly rewarded for it.
So how much do you blame Democrats for that then? Let's talk about the asylum seekers first. The issue with asylum seekers is, of course, how Democrats really dropped the ball as far as letting asylum seekers come here legally, seeking asylum, and then staying here, extending their stay without ever getting any type of catch and release, not seeing judges. I understand there's a backlog in judges and stuff like that, but if you just have no system in which you're tracking anybody anymore, again, that's a failure in leadership in that aspect. And I also think when it comes to the Langford bill that you talked about, I don't think you're a serious person if you bring, not you personally,
I can be
I'm talking about the politicians, they're not serious
He
about
plays
it when they
Expedition
bring this to
33,
the
okay?
forefront during the election year. You already lost the House. You're now playing from behind. You're not serious about this if you didn't bring this to anyone's attention the first 2 years when you had all 3 houses.
Yeah, but I think the issue is like the first issue I think has to do with one of like how are we approaching failures in leadership here. So like catch and release is a difficult one because people assume that the law is like you catch an MS-13 member and then you release them into a friendly white Christian neighborhood so they can wreak havoc and cause terror or whatever. When the reality is first of all there were a large number of people that just didn't immigrate illegally or legally during COVID because it was people were sick. It was fucked. Everybody knew people were sick, right? And it was scary and people were dying and especially in the first wave and kind of in Delta like it was a really bad flu. It really sucked. After that alleviated, there was a huge wave of people that wanted to come in a variety of ways, and then this asylum loophole kind of got discovered, and then everybody realized what would happen is ordinarily if you would come to the United States, you want to claim asylum, your case is adjudicated basically instantly, and if you're good, you can stay as an asylum under some temporary protected status, or you get kicked out. So you're not going to abuse that because if you come in and they kick you, it's like, oh, well, fuck me. But once there was a backlog created, and they have to issue you a slip, right? So catch and release, they issue you, come back to your court date. Once that started to grow, and all these other people were trying to come in after COVID, it was like, oh shit, this is an exploitable system. And I think that started to take off heavily a year or two after the COVID stuff. Now Trump got to use like Title 42 and everything to shut down the border completely. I think Biden and them tried to bring it back for a while, but I don't think the courts let them. And then it's just a problem that like continued to grow, but there were like other things happening too. Like was there room for a conversation about immigration when the Russia-Ukraine war was breaking out, when Israel, Gaza was fucking genociding, nuking each other, and it's like, okay, fuck. And then now you're like at the end of the election cycle, it's like, oh, also the illegal immigrants. Like, okay, well, fuck. Well, here's a bill, and the Republicans like, well, actually, we don't want it. It's like, okay, well, this is even a
So I'm a
problem?
fan,
Like,
not here to good.
yeah.
Well, now
So
you just sound suspicious.
All that to say, I'm sorry, I started this off with like what's actually happening. I think that it would be fair if conservatives would say, and I think it would be even fair to punish Democrats electorally if it's like this is a failure in leadership. Like you're the United States of America, you can handle multiple problems at once. You should have done something about this earlier. But when the talking point on the right is he intentionally, Biden himself, walked down with his fucking Dairy Queen vanilla ice cream cone and opened the gates to let all the illegal immigrants in, and they wanted to do this and they wanted to destroy America. Geez, how do you even start the conversation there? I think it's just a crazy difficult place to start. Yeah.
Well, I think also then what's the suggestion as far as getting the messaging better? Because I think if you ask the average American what is the left stance on immigration, they would say open borders. What's the right? They're against illegal immigration. Like I feel like those are both factually incorrect. But there's no space for nuance when it comes to your average voter. So how would you change? How would you make the messaging better reflect what the politicians are actually advocating for?
Military-industrial complex needs to come back. Deep state needs to come back, and Soros needs to come back and buy X. Okay, we need to ban. I mean, what we have to
I'm
do
not
is
ABG.
something has to change
close.
about the media environment where conservatives can say anything and like lead Democrats around on a leash on everything.
Okay.
That I don't like that. Again, I said this once
Gosting
today,
neolib
that's just a
debater?
multifaceted. It's a huge problem that has to change because like I'm sorry, I know it sounds mean, but like if you're in Pennsylvania, Michigan, like. There's no way that like illegal immigration is the number one fucking problem that you're facing. But like a lot of these people feel that way, and it's like, well, why do they feel that way, right? And they'll insist. Well, I've had people tell me like that's not true. I drive by and I see illegal immigrants all the time. How the fuck do you know they're illegal? Like that sentence you just said is pointless, right? Yeah. But then it's like, how is it then if this is such a huge problem that the second Trump gets elected, it's not a problem anymore? What's happening? Did ICE make that many raids that they deported 25 million illegals or 5 million illegals or 1 million illegals? Like where are they all going? If I thought this was the biggest problem ever, and now it seems like nobody talks about it. So then it's like if it wasn't even that big of a problem, then how do you even address it in the first case face when Republicans are telling you that it's like the biggest problem ever. Like, what are you even supposed to, like, I mean, I'm joking, but I was like, maybe Biden should just say, yesterday we deported 5 million illegals, and like that's the counter to it. And it's like, well, what are Republicans going to say? Like, it's not like they even had a tracking of the real number of people coming in. So it's like, yeah, it's the messaging apparatus has to change in the Democratic Party. There needs to be stronger leadership, more positive positions, not like good, but positive, like this is what we believe and this is our stance and this is what we're going to do to fix things. And then there has to be a better media environment where it can't just be that one side can lie with impunity on every fucking thing over and over and over and over again, and nobody cares about it. No.
Have you seen any recent stats as far as illegal crossings in the United States over the past 10 months?
My wonderful president keeps telling me it's basically 0, 0, 0, 0.
Well, yeah, okay, so we know it's not zero, but I mean, when we're comparing it to 2023 or 2024, we
is
can probably
that?
both agree that it's drastically less, right?
It's probably less, yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
Okay.
Woo!
And have you crossed the
So I
border
heard.
recently, perhaps? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I've done it, like I
Huh?
do it quite often. I would say this year been much easier than it ever has before.
Ooh,
I'm not
get
necessarily
him.
saying that's due to any like Trump's specific work. I'm sure that's it's meaningful.
ABBA?
I think
Why would you
probably
say
more
that?
so.
What's wrong with you?
The last 10 months, the United States has just been a much less attractive place for anybody to come for
come
any
true.
reason. So
One
you
thing I
make it
kind of
look
wonder
like shit,
too,
and
and there's
one's
no
gonna
way
come.
for me to like actually prove this, but like sometimes I wonder, because I know it's like, and nobody's polling these people, how much does like the conservative rhetoric play into, like if you look at the numbers, we always
sounds
have
like
more
Abbott.
attempted
He
illegal
actually does
crossings
sound
under a
like
Democrat
Abbott.
president than we do under a Republican president, even though like the policies are relatively unchanged. And sometimes I wonder, like, are there people in South America that hear Trump say the Democrats have open borders, and then when Biden gets elected, they're like, oh, maybe we can just go up there then. Like, do you think? I wonder, does that encourage more people to come up or not? I have no idea, but yeah, it's very frustrating to me that like supposedly these are some of the biggest problems we have, but then as soon as they get their guy elected, now these problems seem to
just
not matter
shut
anymore.
up.
That's just very frustrating because it's like, what, the fuck? What was Biden ever supposed to do? Like, if Trump can do nothing essentially, except I guess he has an EO like limiting numbers of crossings, although nobody's going to be right early.
Shut
But
up.
yeah, I don't know. Just it's a frustrating environment to be in.
All right, last thoughts there, Baron.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my overall point would always be that I feel like people on the left, they just don't do a good job of picking and choosing exactly what they want their messaging to be, and the lack of follow through is just terrible, specifically on people for the left, because you have a base that will hold you accountable for your lack of follow through. And we see so many factions within the left that we necessarily don't see in the right. I mean, we see a lot of infighting over there, but they all seem to coalesce against around one candidate. While I mean, we can just.
Oh yeah, guys, don't forget to vote in the poll in chat, okay? 84% cis male, 7% cis female, trans male is 1%, and trans female is 9%. Interesting. I think the ratio has gone up after like this is like the end of Destiny stream, right? Because I think that this is like there's no way. Yeah. So he ended stream. The more GGG that floods into YouTube chat, the more the cis male ratio is gonna go up. Okay, but I just want to say before the cis male ratio go up, okay, I just want to say that the ratio was like I think at some point it reached like 70%. Like it was only 70% cis male, okay, and it was like I think it was like 11%. I think cis female. Yeah, I just want to say that, okay, before it's getting corrupted, all right, by the DGers.
New York City's mayoral election, for example, or the previous 2016 Democratic primary, where we have plenty of options that I think most people will be great with, but you have the Bernie bro situation, right? Where if it's not going to be Bernie Sanders, we're not going to vote at all. You know, we have situations like that. I don't really see anything comparable to on the right, and if that's going to be the case,
prove it's not ABBA.
$2, thank you, Californian.
then the people that are running for the important positions on the left need to understand that, and they need to change their entire their platform or how they choose to run to ensure that they're bringing that in and amalgamating that within their platform.
Yeah, maybe. I will say just as one final thing, because I hear this a lot. I heard the majority report saying this. Some people will say this thing, well, they'll make these criticisms of the Democrats, like the messaging is bad, they need to do a better job communicating this. But like, it's funny because I'll hear people, I just heard Emma and Sam complain about this on the majority report, like the Democratic messaging is so bad, like why can't they communicate this, this, and this? And it's like, motherfuckers, you're communicating this, this, and this. Do it, communicate it then, right? Like you never hear conservatives say like Trump was really bad at that explanation. These guys are tripping over themselves to explain exactly what Trump meant, no matter how much of an inconsistent jarble of random words it was. Like they're here to ascribe, fucking Mike Johnson like pulled out the FBI informant shit out of fucking thin air when it came to the Epstein stuff. So like, it's just interesting because like for Republicans, like they don't have, the politicians themselves don't even have to think that much about the messaging. Right. It's not like they're the ones doing, like Ted Cruz and Rubio and Trump are amazing messengers. It's that the entire apparatus they're in are amazing messengers. Because if anybody says it, then Tim Pool and Joe Rogan and Dr. Malone and all the cabinet members and all the Fox News hosts and everybody's going to be repeating the exact same thing. So like they get a lot of help. It's not just the politicians on the right. It's the whole apparatus there that's helping them do it.
Yeah, surely there's some
like backing
infrastructure as far as top-down messaging that's just so much better when you have everybody that's important on their side parroting the same comment, while on ours, everyone's giving unique positions on the same thing that's confusing the voter race.
Sure, cool.
All
Thanks,
right,
Simon.
thank you, Barron. Put your hands together for Barron. Thanks, buddy. Awesome stuff. All right, we got a few debaters left. Remaining debaters, don't be afraid to bring your strong disagreements with Stephen up here. He's not going to bite you too hard. So we got David in the house. David, where are you at? David, it's your turn, David.
Careful. Someone might bring up the lawsuit, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. Make sure you talk nice and close into the mic. Thank you.
Careful. Careful there.
All right.